Good evening, and welcome to Lord Gugu's stream. Consider becoming a subscriber today to unlock the exclusive Stephen Sondheim Twitch emote. Tonight's performance of Musical Theater is Good, Actually, will run approximately 90 minutes. Oh, who am I kidding? It will run a lot longer than that, with one intermission. And tonight, the role of co-host will be played by Alex Kliner, and the role of guest will be played by Emily Levin Snow. Please take this time to silence your cell phones and note all emergency exits. If you are interested in becoming an audience participant in tonight's show, please register at the table in the lobby and be prepared to be forced into choreography and repeatedly insulted. Now please rise for the Musical Theater National Anthem.
Tell us we were starting.
It's the pre-roll.
So you think it's madness when an actor breaks into song, that it's cringe, try hard and corny shit? Well, you are wrong. It's actually not awful. Have you heard of Stephen Sondheim or Jesus Christ, superstar of faves of mine? Yes, there's Lin-Manuel Miranda and all that he entails. But don't blame the art form. It never fails. And true, there's also Randy Rainbow. But see, I still think musical theater's good, actually. I love musicals more than I should, and I think that they are just misunderstood. Musical theater is Thank you. All right, Alex, I'm gonna unmute you in a second here. You're still muted, and you're no longer muted, I think.
Unmuted.
Yes.
Unmuted, and so thrilled to be back here on Musical Theater is Good, Actually, Bob.
Great. Okay, I have the desktop audio relay is now very hot, so I hope the sound levels weren't totally insane there, everybody. I didn't blow all your eardrums out. Alex, great.
No, there was nothing insane about what you just did. No,
not one thing insane. Good.
That was all very normal and good.
I am nothing if not normal. Thank you, everybody,
for oh, you are only hearing the acapellas, even better. Well, I can't wait to bring out our guest. Hang on, I have a whole spiel written. Of course, I need to put this in dark mode because I go to my spiel. Oh wait, okay, I fucked up. All right. Our guest tonight is someone I have been friends with technically longer than Alex. I realize this, technically.
That's fine. That's fine.
And somebody that I've loved collaborating with in the theater many times and with whom I love to discuss musical theater specifically. And she was the inspiration for what you just heard, that opening number. It's a song that national anthem we particularly bonded over. But without, let me unmute her. This is all part of it. All right, without further ado, here she is, Emily Carol Levin Snow, Esquire. She's not actually an Esquire.
Hi.
I just added
She's
that
an
one.
attorney.
You're an attorney.
I love that.
Emmy,
Thank
was that
you.
everything? That was all for you. I do it all for you.
Great. I love that. That's my favorite. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Emmy, it's so good to have you here. It took too long to get you on. Well, I will say the last time you were on was a very, very special Lord Gugu stream. Lost to the archives. Actually, I think I have it downloaded somewhere.
Good.
It was, if anybody noticed, we got a COVID vaccine, and there's no longer dang Cheeto in the White House, things like that. You're wondering what was responsible for that all happening. Was that we had a stream where we unhexed the moon via watching Kate Bush and Stevie Nicks music videos.
That's right.
And we were the three witches. We also harnessed the power of many other witches, the Hocus Pocus witches and the Craft witches and the practical magic witches. They were all there. And anyway, now there's a COVID vaccine, and we have the great Joe Biden, who there's nothing wrong with, and we all anyway.
I think particularly, the Joe Biden part of it, we did that.
We did it.
We did that. And yeah, because you will all remember.
The Wiccans for Biden
the recent history.
Wiccans for Biden campaign was very, very
big.
I have radical opinions about the moon, but I do think that the way to get justice in America is through incrementalism, said those witches.
Exactly. That's exactly what the Macbeth witches were talking about. Specifically.
I love Kate Bush.
Uh-huh. Do you all remember?
I'm really trying to be on. Is it working?
You're on. You're always on. Emmy is one of my absolute favorite people. Like I said, so
Thank you.
All three of us met at around the same time. We went to college together at the great Towson University. Everybody knows it, loves it.
Let's get TU going in chat.
It's not that the most recent national news story you'll find about it was there being a white student union group started by notorious hate monger Matthew Heimbach. He didn't last but a year there anyway. Don't tar us with Matthew Heimbach, please. That was
tar us for Brian Seltzer.
Brian Seltzer Orchestra.
The
Brian Seltzer Orchestra.
Brian Stelter was the editor-in-chief of the Towson Tower Light, and they did write a bullying column about me. We talked about this on the show.
They didn't write a bullying column. You were depicted unflatteringly in a political cartoon. And if there's anything I know,
a political cartoon.
Well, you understand the format. Some sort of social commentary cartoon.
I was bullied by the official college newspaper. And I was just like, this is funny. But then all my friends, they got together in a group and they marched across campus and went to the Tower Light office and were like, we demand to speak to Brian Stelter.
Yep. And his orchestra.
I don't think I was involved in that.
Yeah, you might not have been, but I believe Alex, you were. I was not.
Of course I was.
If there's a charge to be led, Alex is going to be there.
Yeah, he's like, a march?
And that's T.
If we're just starting shit for fun, I'm absolutely there.
We love it. We love to start shit for fun. But so we all went to Towson, and where Alex and I were theater majors, and Emmy, on the other hand, considered the minor, which is which was basically a catchphrase of the faculty sponsor for the minor. A lovely, wonderful Harry Potter character of a woman named Peggy Penniman. And I say that as actually a good thing. Like, she was wonderful. But she would always like tell people at the annual meeting, consider the minor. And that was Emmy. But also, Emmy even in high school times had come and seen me perform musical theater before she knew me. Isn't that right, Emmy?
Yeah, because I was involved in the theater group in high school, Wooten High School. I was friends with Andy Curland.
Actually,
remember him?
I should interject because I know we have a lot of like
Please
Deli
interject.
Boys fans, and this is just important context about Wooten High School. Is that just a couple of years ahead of Emmy, I believe, at Wooten High School. I don't think you knew him personally, but wasn't Evan Susser just like a few years ahead of you?
Oh, I know that OAR kids went.
I thought Evan Susser went to Wooten.
He might have. I'm not
Maybe
sure.
It was Churchill. I think it was Wooten. But anyway. So there you go. That's just to give like location. All right. So, but also I grew up when I was at high school at Quince Orchard High School. I always thought that Wooten was like the real great dogs because there were a couple of really, really good people that were like your year specifically.
Right. Yeah. So, and I think there was some crossover with summer theater or whatever. So, through those relationships.
Thanks, Emilio. I'm turning myself up.
We would go to see you perform, and I don't know. I don't really know how that. I guess that's how it happened, and then I don't think I saw you ever in a QO thing. I must have.
No,
but
I thought you saw Into the Woods.
I don't think I did, but I saw you in Sweeney Todd. I remember that.
Oh, okay. Well, that was the summer after my senior year of high school. Yeah, and I don't think we knew each other. That was the first time I did Sweeney Todd, where I was Tobias, because I was a baby at that point and I had hair.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
And that's it, folks. Thank you all so much for coming.
And that's the whole show. No, and so then Emmy and I, but because we had a mutual friend who was one of those really talented people I was talking about, Andy Curland, because we did a youth theater, the first production of the Les Mis Junior that they were doing. It wasn't called Junior; it was called Les Mis Student Edition. I'm sorry, Les Mis Junior is like they take all the bummer stuff out.
Did you hear the Kids Bop joke?
There's no Les Mis Kids Bop. There's no prostitutes. They're all like flower sellers now. Have some flowers. Buy your flowers here. Alex, you know Les Mis. You don't know Les Mis at all, do you?
Les Mis Kids with the backwards K.
But Emmy's high school did Les Mis, and they did that same. And my friend Andy at the time, Andy Curland, was an amazing baritone, like legit, like truly better than 90% of adults you would have heard as like a full-throated, like powerful baritone, like would blow the walls out of a place.
We were children with that perspective of another child. So do you think looking back on it now, we would think the same?
No, because it was like what
Andy, if you're watching,
I hope he is.
No shade.
Andy, I hope you're watching. Come on the show.
I think he's a successful lawyer now.
Great, that's awesome. I hope you're doing
he's not
awesome.
Watching this.
You're very talented. Hey, whatever. Like he was like the best, and I remember just the first time hearing him.
No,
it's just like one of those like, how is that sound coming out of you? Because it was just like he was kind of like a nerdy looking kind of guy.
And then there was another. I was in love with Andy Curland, obviously. There was another guy,
Billy Davenport, right?
Yes, who I think is an actual like opera singer.
Yeah,
now.
Well, I believe went to didn't he go to one of the schools and did he go to like Peabody or something like that?
I think it was one of those conservatories. Yeah. Cincinnati, maybe.
I remember because there was the Maryland State Theater Festival, and he performed "Bring Him Home," and it was like one of those like brain melting experiences. Like everybody just being like how it was, just again, just like such a mature sound and like so like gentle and controlled, and like that's maybe like the most difficult man's musical theater song to sing, I would say.
Yes,
possibly.
brilliant.
It's an extremely difficult song to sing well, I should say. You know, Alex, Bring Him Home from Les Mis.
Yeah. Why must he die?
Papa died.
You know, I remember singing that. I feel like his name was Thomas, and he was like in my my grade
Thomas?
at college. He was an acting major, and he was in my voice and movement stuff. Anyway, I think he took like that musical theater class that you took in the music department, and Harvey Doster sat in it. Yeah, I think he sang "Bring Him Home," and it was amazing. But I haven't thought about that guy in a while. I don't think he graduated with it.
Well, you know, it's
anyway.
It's a beautiful song, but anyway, like so you had like both of those guys, and then so they're playing the two lead parts in Les Mis. Like we went and saw that Les Mis, like all of us from my high school, like we made like a group trip.
Oh my god, I was I think that was like became my entire personality for like 6 to 7 months.
I mean,
that whole thing.
Like if I can't imagine, like if I like. Because like the thing was that like I just like barely knew those guys from like those times, and I still were like these guys, and I like actually like because when I did that show, most of the people were already in what's called through Young Colombians, which people that are local to DC watching this would definitely know, and that's a youth performing like sort of show choir group out of Toby's Dinner Theater in Columbia, and formerly a Young Colombian, I will say, Edward Norton, famously. Was a young I think was one in the first class of Young Colombians, I believe. But anyway, so there was already like this tight knit group that was in it, and then there was just me and a couple other guys that weren't like in that group, so we were just kind of naturally. So Andy and I, especially because we were both from like Montgomery County and stuff, we like this is all local DC shit. Don't you all love this?
I love it. I'm actually truly enjoying it.
I'm glad, Emmy. I'm so glad to have you here. It took way too long to actually get you onto this show.
No, this is perfect. This is fine.
And we picked kind of just like a random show because like we don't have any specific connection to it, like really. Besides that, I remember it coming out while we were in college, and that, yeah, and I just kind of remember listening. Sorry, something bad just happened. Okay. And I just remember, listening to it. But it's a very funny show. And it's a great show. But we're not going to talk about that yet. Hang on, Alex. I got to put you... Alex, you know the drill here. It's time to put you in the corner. Sorry, friend.
Bye.
You're still going to you're still going to be here. Just oh no, he's getting smaller. No,
I've contributed so much, though. Why
He's here. He's here. No. It's okay.
Bye-bye.
Alex was in Frederick County being the vizier in Kismet. So cancel him probably for that. No, don't. Jokes.
Go ahead and cancel it.
That's my one credit. But please, no, go on with your little show, Bobby.
No. Alex was also doing like professional and semi-professional theater as well. He was in like a professional production of Godspell where he was Judas. And I'm sorry, do you want me to get all your credits? And then
I want you to, but I do want you to put my socials up
like,
under my name.
He went to fucking like, you know, the Nickelodeon kids camp and like was in a limo with Shia LaBeouf, right? Alex,
have you told the story on this show about how you were going to audition for?
That's right.
Yes. No. We multiple times we've told the story about.
For repeat listeners, the biggest thing about me is I was on my way to my big break at 10 years old, and I saw a dead body, and I blew the
He saw his first dead body.
That's one of many that I would later go on to see. I stay humble and regular throughout.
Yeah. The car was stopped immediately at the point where they were going to roll out the actual dead body from the vehicular accident. And Alex, at the age of 9 or 10, seeing a body that was recently deceased be wheeled out, then had to go audition at Ford's Theater Company.
At Ford's Theater.
Needless to say, he wasn't in the headspace.
Needless to say, did not book.
It was the spirit of Lincoln.
It was.
Well, anyway, Emmy, I am going through my... Okay, here it is. Very good. Very, very good.
I'm ready.
You know what it is.
Whatever it is. Throw it at me.
It's time for the quiz. All right, we're just gonna breeze through this because we got a lot to cover. Okay, Emmy, I think I know how you're gonna answer for this.
Okay, I didn't prep. Just.
All right, well, this one's a simple. There's only two options. Which statement do you agree with more? Musical theater is the pinnacle of human achievement as the purest and most complete synthesis of all art and performance, or musical theater is an abomination before God and man and destroying us as a society and human race. Which is closer to your opinion?
I don't know. I'm
surprised. I'm surprised by this.
What did you think I was gonna say?
I thought you were an easy first option here. I thought you were going to be my easiest one ever. Alex famously is one of the only ones to pick the second.
I mean, I'm honestly I can't think of it like that holistically. Or maybe I am thinking of it holistically because like, I do think like when musical theater is good, it is probably the best art form in the world, but it is so commodified now and Disneyfied. And I know, but like that makes it terrible because it is the most purest form of art taken to this level of just like sponsors and
the way
crap,
that it's often deployed, the way that that people associate it, and the sort of the thinking that goes into creating it nowadays.
If you're in, and that's like I don't know. So I'm in the middle, I think.
Wow. Now this is a first. This is somebody opting out and like, look at this. She's saying, now this is classic Emmy. She's going, nope, I'm upset. I don't like the question. We're not dealing with it.
Well, and in all fairness to Emily.
No, I love it. It's perfect.
It is a profoundly absurd question.
No, there's nothing wrong with the question. And then going on to the next one.
I also haven't like indulged in musical theater, like listened to it or seen it in years. So I don't like. I don't feel like I can properly answer the question.
Especially, well, like in college, we did it a bit. You know, we did Tommy, we did Urinetown. We certainly listened to Rent and other things or whatever, in Alex's car. But like, there was a long time there, especially because when we went to college, there wasn't a musical theater program at all. Really, they would just do one every other year. And they really only did one while we were there because I think they count Marat Sade, which shouldn't count. But, I mean, it was great. I love Marat Sade.
Oh, I did love that. I forgot about that.
But, yeah, and then after college, we went to Chicago, Alex and I, and we had a few years trying to have our own theater company there where we did, like, funny shows with music. Always with music. We'd always want to incorporate music in some way or dancing or something. But never a straight musical, though. So I was kind of a long time away from musical, like in general, and then even moving back to DC, there was like still a year before I like started performing again. So I had like seriously like a good chunk of years where I was like really not engaging with musicals seriously at all. But then when I started doing them again, it's a fun thing to fall back in love with, Emmy. So that's what what this is my goal in this episode, which is going to be my favorite episode. Sorry, no offense to all previous episodes. We are going to get you firmly in the A camp by the end.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I'm not going to push it.
You don't have to, Emmy. The reason I'm here.
No,
I'm just want to.
Alex is the devil on the other shoulder.
You invite me on to co-host to offer this contrarian perspective, and I'm saying, Emily.
Maybe Alex can also. You know what? It's going to be a battle.
It's not going to be a battle. It's not going to be a battle because guess what?
Battle for your musical soul.
Everyone's an adult.
I don't like it. Am I going to hate it?
It's fine. Musical theater is fine.
Musical theater is fine sometimes. Is the name of Alex's
fine sometimes
show.
Okay, well, I think Alex, you try to convince me of the contrary. Okay?
Yeah. Alex hosts musical theater is fine sometimes.
Sometimes. You know what? I did want to circle back because I am treating this like
Go ahead and circle
call.
back.
Do it.
We're going to circle back.
Circle back to it.
Well, I respond well to corporate culture, so
yes.
Circle back.
As do I.
Exactly. And what we're always doing is, we're just like leading a message, right? And the message I'd like to lead with in this moment is, if anyone caught my appearance on Bobby's 13-hour marathon for New Year's, I got the soundtrack for the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee at the same time that I first heard the soundtrack to Titanic. And I will speak for hours about why Titanic is an amazing musical and is, the best. So that is that about that. Emily, would you like to answer the next question?
Well, no, but I will also say that I remember hearing like the soundtrack at that time, like the songs like "I Love You" song and things like that. I remember thinking like, "Oh, "I Love You" song's pretty." I like some of this is like cute, but just like you, Alex, I think I was like, this is like a comedy show. This is kind of like a silly show.
Yeah.
But then years later, I would happen to have the opportunity to direct it, kind of by accident. Like it wasn't a show that I asked to do, but it was available. And I watched, actually, I think this exact slime tutorial that some of you just watched. And I was like, oh, wait, the show's good. Okay, so that's my full context of where I'm coming from with this show. Emmy, what's yours? We're gonna be all over the place for this episode, and it's gonna be awesome.
I remember listening to that like "I Love You" song a lot, and I probably listened to the show, but I remember like really liking that song, and I think it came out around the same time as I could be wrong with this, but it's like, is it in that same era of "You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown"?
It's several years after that, because that I want to say is like 90. You're talking about the one with Kristen Chenoweth and Anthony Rapp.
Yeah.
That is, I want to say that's like 2000 ish. But that also had Andrew Lippa songs that were added in as well.
I think I was listening to this like around the time that I was listening to like, oh God, I don't know, like I really liked Amour. That like French musical about the guy who like walks in the wall. I think it's got that same like very lush quality. And I like that.
So just a couple weeks ago, we did the Umbrellas of Cherbourg, which is Michel Legrand did the music and lyrics for that, and he did Amour as well. And so, but Umbrellas of Cherbourg is like this movie from the 1960s, and then Amour is from like 2000. So it's just really funny that those projects are like so far apart. That's really cool. I've only recently listened to that in the past few years, but I too love Amour. I think it's a very beautiful.
But I never saw Spelling Bee, or I don't even know if I ever listened to the whole soundtrack, to be honest with you.
This is the thing, is that I think it's an especially poor listen to out of context. If you don't know the entire show, it's not. I mean, you maybe would like individual songs in it, but you're not gonna like love the entire show in the same way that you might for like this composer William Finn, like one of his other shows that I think maybe you could fall in love with it from the soundtrack, like A New Brain or the falsettos. I think that those, and especially those, because those are like mostly music too. I mean, falsettos is all music. So like you're like listening to the whole show, and I feel like those kind of shows are always the best to that's Abby getting chips. Everybody, can we get hey Abby's chips going in the chat?
Hey Abby's chips. Hey Abby's chips. Hey Abby's chips.
But
hey Abby's chips.
What was I saying? No, sorry, that was my own fault.
I don't know. Am I supposed to answer a question?
But another show from college that we loved around this time in college, Caroline or Change, that you can very much fall in love with from the soundtrack, because it's the same thing. It's sung through, and it's those Tony Kushner lyrics, and that's like, and a lot of that can be conveyed through the recording. Do you remember listening to Caroline or Change as well? Maybe you missed on that one.
I remember everybody listening to it, and I think I probably listened to 2 or 3 songs, and I was like, yeah, this is good. But I feel like I was always on the periphery. Like, I never dove in. Like I was always very much on the periphery. I was in the minor.
But Emmy, let's talk about sort of what we did together in theater in college, because I think one of probably my favorite collaboration was when I did my directing project my junior year or senior year. Right, I was my senior year, and it was Alex's super senior semester, and then I also had a super senior semester eventually. But Alex's was just to do his thesis, everybody. It was fine. Or am I remembering that wrong, Alex? Help
What?
me with time.
Alex has to stop paying attention.
This is why he's here.
5 minutes.
I was answering texts. I did an extra semester, and in that time I wrote my thesis, and that was the semester we directed our plays.
Right. Okay, great. And Emmy designed both of them, and stage design, and also did the
I
makeup.
don't think I did Alex's. I think Ryan did Alex's.
Okay. Oh, but you did
Well, there was
something.
the teeny tiny
Did you
chatting.
like ASM or something? You worked something on Alex.
I'm sure I did.
Because I
Yeah,
remember.
you did props or something.
I remember there being.
I was just there because I just want to hang out with you.
Pretty much, and I remember there being tension about me being like needing Emmy for some design thing, and her being you being in the other rehearsal. This seems like something I was mad about. I can't remember.
I'm sure there's drama.
But yeah, it was great because we were both working on shows at the same time. Like mine opened, I think Alex was like the next weekend or something. But I did Martin McDonagh's The Pillow Man. Still one of my favorite plays. People might know that play. If you haven't read it, that's a play that I recommend as a great read. Martin McDonagh, of course, of In Bruges, and everybody's favorite, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Everyone loves it. Nobody has any complaints about that movie. But I love The Pillow Man, and Emmy did this really cool set design as well as a weird kind of creepy makeup design. Of these like player characters. How do you feel? How do you feel looking back at all that, Emmy?
I don't know. I don't really remember. I don't
it?
remember I did the makeup. I remember the set design, and I remember really liking that. Like that was fun
because it was like a ceiling piece,
well.
but it was also supposed to be like walls.
We got to
so
hang it.
So
that was cool.
Kind of felt like you were
I wish I could see it.
And it was in thrust where we had a couple of rows of audience on the side as well, so you would kind of see other people experiencing this kind of show.
Do you see what's happening?
Hi, Matt.
Matt, hello.
I care. Hi, Matt.
Everybody say hi to Matt. Everyone. Oh no, this is the best. Is it Daphne? Okay, we got Daphne. Okay. Bye, Matt.
Okay, bye, Matt.
We love Matt. Matt's gonna come on the show if I ever find a decent slime tutorial of hands on a hard body, because he's a big fish head, and I want a fish head to talk about the Phil Lesh musical. So if anybody, or Trey Anastasio, whoever it is, one of those fucking guys.
That was great.
So if anybody has a decent slime tutorial of the original hands on a hard body, it also has the lady from Greatest Showman in it. I want to watch that. Anyway, Emmy, we're gonna move on in the quiz.
Okay.
What is your musical theater archetype? You remember musicals. You've seen enough to know the major like character archetypes, and I'm gonna list some for you to choose from. So don't worry.
Okay.
Would you be the ingenue, the villain, the sidekick / friend, the character actor / comic relief / old, or other? And then please specify.
I think I'd be the old character actor, or I think I'd be the swing. I think
Dance captain. Dance captain.
For sure. Dance captain.
Yeah,
swing.
I'd be in the chorus.
Understudying the
I will
second
say that
female
was a
lead,
brilliant
dance
performance of Emmys that our good friend Ryan also that directed his the next year he directed, or next semester, whenever it was, directed Pippin. In that Emmy was in the Players, one of the, and that was a very, very fun production, and Emmy was very fun.
That was fun.
I remember, and Jack was in that as well. Jack in the chat was also in there.
Jack and I would get yelled at like children in elementary school.
Hey, would you like some pudding? Jack is saying that's.
Be Gavin.
There was like a moment where Emmy would always like do the classic.
That was
ad-lib a different thing every time.
It's like when like a flash of like anxiety like comes at you like 3 a.m. and you wake up and you're like thinking about things that you're anxious about from like 20 years ago. I'm like, why did they
but that was so funny.
Let me do that? Was it?
Yes.
I don't know if it was. I think it was funny to us.
Well, who cares? Who cares? It's a college production. Everybody's just fucking around.
I don't care.
Hey, you know
what?
No,
it was great.
You never had a review.
If everybody liked it, that's fine.
You never had a review in BroadwayWorld.com, tearing you to shreds and comparing your performance to Minstrelsy and
Don't get into it.
Which
I
we know
don't
that
know who we're talking about.
the last time Alex is on the show, we talked about it because of course we talked about Tommy with Jack.
I know. I was watching. It was a 4-hour-long stream.
It was
right.
literally 3 hours, and I was like trying to wrap it up, and Alex was like, "No, keep going," which is great.
Oh yeah. And it's 50 minutes past starting time, and we're on the second question of the musical theater quiz, and that's my fault.
Emmy, how do you musical theater? Like, what is? So you've kind of talked about this, that you aren't you haven't really been connected with it in a while. You don't really listen or watch it as much as you did. But how?
Yeah.
How, if you do you?
So about twice a year, I'll YouTube the performance of Mandy Patinkin and Patti LuPone and Evita at the Tonys. And I'll like remember that exists, and I'll YouTube it, and then I'll go on like a 3-day bender of like listening to all of the hits. You know what I mean? Like I'll put on Wicked, and I'll put on Evita, and I'll put on oh god, like Aida. I always put on Aida. I like
I was
that.
thinking about Aida this week because I'm like, I see Disney like just mining every bit of IP they have. They're doing 33 Star Wars. They're doing the Buzz Lightyear origin that's about the man, not the toy. They're doing all this weird shit. And here they have in their back pocket a wonderful musical, music by Elton John, lyrics by Tim Rice, that slaps for the most part.
It slaps.
You would probably not have the one Egyptian race be a white guy played by Adam Pascal, but that's an easy recast issue. That's fine. That's an easy.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, and then like his dad is like Sting. I mean, it's not really Sting, but it's like clearly supposed to be
Sting.
yeah. And those are your Egyptians. But then there's the Nubians. But like Heather Headley is brilliant, and Sherry Renee Scott also. Again, notable Nubian. Or no, she wasn't a Nubian. She's an Egyptian, actually. Sherry Renee Scott. But she is. I mean, her dress will always be the strongest. I mean, like that's a great song. Fun stuff.
Yeah. So that's what I'll go on like a 2 or 3 day bender.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't do this anymore. And then it'll like twice a year, you know?
That's it. That's all you need.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's just enough to keep it going.
But I mean, if I had like, I would definitely go see plays live. For sure. If I was closer to New York, I think. And now, at this point in my life.
Or if you moved, to Maryland or the environs, and there was like theater happening in the area with like maybe even. Like,
I used to work in theater. I forgot.
Oh right, in DC you were working in theaters.
Yeah, I worked for William Mammoth Theater Company.
That's right.
For like 2 years, and Forum and Rorschach.
I remember being at Woolly Mammoth so much around the time that it had a plumbing issue, and there was like ambient
ambient poop.
Yes. No,
that was part of it. It was environmental. It was a comment. It was a commentary.
I used Emily's staff comps to get into the Second City show when it came to DC, and Neil.
I went with you. I went with you for the Second City one. I remember.
And I would end up going to work for both of those theater companies.
I remember. What's his name from Detroiters was in the
Sam Richardson.
Sam Richardson was in the Second City show that we saw.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of remember that because I was like, this guy is like, I was like watching it. I was like, this is a fine like whatever comedy show, but this guy is clearly the funniest one. I remember.
The lady from Orange is the New Black. What's her name?
Which one?
The one who played Crazy Eye.
Uzo Aduba.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she was in a lot of stuff at Woolly.
Well, she was in Godspell on Broadway. That was, the rendition of Godspell. That was the one that I did. We did the basically the same version, more or less, with a few differences. So I was listening to that cast recording a lot when I was like trying to like learn, remember the show, because Alex and I are both Godspell stans as well. We enjoy Godspell. Okay. I think we answered that.
I want to take this moment to just quickly apologize to my dear friend Asia for saying the SC words. It is a sensitive subject for many of us.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Well, we absolutely do not endorse any institutions that we're talking about now. We're just reminiscing about organizations. Many of actually a few of even the names that Emmy listed, those companies don't even exist or were canceled or had people canceled at them.
Sure were.
So like, we do not endorse any of these institutions we're talking about, just remembering events that happened.
That's right.
All right, Emmy. We kind of got into this, I think, with like your Amor and Aida Love, I think are great examples. But are there any other musicals that you think should be more popular or beloved? And now I want the really hot takes. What musicals should be less popular, in your opinion? Are you sick of?
I think I answered that. More popular, definitely. I think probably like Amor. That's the one that comes to mind. I mean, that's so beautiful. I mean, I think that was also a time in my life where I was like, I want to move to Paris, like 20, like thinking I can move to Paris or,
I mean, did you ever listen to, because this is the same era, actually, I think that this was what won Best Score at the Tonys over 25th Annual Putnam County Spelling Bee, and then Spelling Bee won Best Book. Did you ever listen to The Light in the Piazza?
No, but I definitely
very beautiful, very
told
beautiful
people I listened to it.
Wait, did you know like your friend David or something? Were you like, yeah, I listened to it?
I think people were just talking about it. I'd be like, oh yeah, I love that.
I literally did that with pretty much every Sondheim musical for 10 years.
Yeah,
I forced.
I like that.
I had to force Alex and use the fucking Clockwork Orange, hold his eyes open to make him watch A Little Night Music.
Ludovico treatment is what it's
less
called.
popular. I don't know. I would say it's just like any kind of shit crap that's on Broadway today. Probably. I don't even know that.
Shit crap that's on Broadway today.
Yeah.
So like when they try to do like Rocky the Musical or like.
Yeah, I think that's maybe my like. Why don't it's that's the commodification of it all, right? It's like why are we not trying to do something original?
Templeton Stagg says Rocky was amazing. Send me a slime tutorial. I'm willing to see. I have seen like some visual stuff on it, but and I know that Andy Carl is like legit, but yeah, shit crap musicals. We're anti shit crap musicals here.
Anti shit crap. I can't think of anything.
We don't have any time for it. If you're listen, all you bad musicals, all you shit crap musicals, you're on notice.
Okay, all you shit crap. Maybe like.
Let me ask you a question. Would the musical Shrek the Musical qualify as a shit crap musical?
I haven't seen that or heard it.
Let me tell you, you should. It's on Netflix. I recommend it.
Is it good?
It is good, actually.
I'm sure it is good, actually.
Well, it's Janine Tesori who did Caroline or Change music. I mean, it's very different music, but and it's I think it actually serves the story, and it's like better as a musical than it is as a movie, even. That's how I feel.
Hot take.
It's just my feels.
Alex, your thoughts?
I haven't seen it.
He's answering texts. Emmy.
No, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. I'm in the same boat. I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah, like I love it. Maybe we will. Maybe I'll be hacked again.
No, and in fact, don't even try to write it in the.
Sorry, this is like the part of like Pee-wee's Playhouse where you say the secret word, except it's all bad. Except it's like everything is crying.
I know you have
everyone is
negative thoughts.
No, it's good. It's.
I was like kind of. I was not against it, but just kind of like I didn't understand the hype.
Well, it's hard
a long time
when something is hyped to that level.
Yeah, I saw it on whenever they
Disney
broadcasted it. Yeah, and I understood why. I got it. I think like the stuff that the women do is really that's a good musical theater. That's good musical theater. I mean, like,
no, it's like
there's a lot of like that's very good.
There's a lot of really good technical musical theater. I think it is actually brilliantly directed, specifically and choreographed. And I think that even like, divorcing meaning from everything, which you kind of have to do.
Yeah, I'm not thinking
it's
about.
It's like very
That's not
technically
a
proficient, well done.
Yeah.
It's well composed as a piece, like as a character study about a flawed man or whatever. Great. But it suffers from the same thing that all kind of liberal art suffers from, which is it can't help but hero worship slave owners, and then it has the perversion of then making actors of color be the slave owners, like George Washington, who are just like revered in the show as a hagiography. And I don't know.
That was such a different time, though.
My heart's not even in my anti-Hamilton take anymore. The discourse is so much. No, I'm kidding.
No, but that's part of the problem too. Like it's Hamilton to me is a Christopher Nolan. It is competently done. It has, to me, major writing problems. The music sounds great in it. But if it
he's saying that because that's a Hans Zimmer love right there.
Yeah, like that a little bit, and like no, and I do think that Lin-Manuel Miranda, in his early career, like was doing really exciting shit.
No, I think
and then
he still is. I still think he's someone to watch. I always just hold up Moana.
Yeah, he's an up and comer one to watch for sure.
He should never act. Stop hiring him as an actor. Stop it now.
And maybe stop. Like I don't know.
And there is something to say that he's the worst singer in the show, and he's in the lead part.
Mm-hmm. Well, he wrote it.
Well,
so.
and
I mean, but that's just like.
Well,
all people like that are insane.
Credit to the godmother of this show, Kate Raft, who it's her take. So I'm borrowing her take or sharing it here that
Let's co-op the take.
That Hamilton is about Lynn. That it's like basically everything he's writing about Hamilton is true about himself. Like that's like he just can't stop writing, and he's just so bold, and people just can't help but being pissed off at him, and he's just too busy, and he's always working and writing.
The last 5 years, right?
Well, that is directly autobiographical to the point that he had to take a song out of it because it was too on the nose talking about his ex.
I love that show.
I did too. I did too. I wanted to do that show so bad.
God, I love that show. Now
Horrible
I think
movie.
I would
worst movie.
Have a nervous breakdown.
The difference though is one is that the last 5 years is about two made up people, and it is two people. The other one is a Disney owned property that is the biggest thing that's ever happened in Broadway, and it's about it's revisionist history about a founding father. So I can see similar pros and cons.
Just give and take with it.
Yeah, it would just be I
mean, but like that is like every white liberal in Montgomery County. Oh, they love Hamilton.
Okay, wait.
Yeah, the way they got them talking about our great
feeding them exactly what they want to hear about.
They say if Lin-Manuel Miranda was in charge of this country, oh boy, no thank you, Mr. Trump. You're out of here. Let's make you the backbone of the Democratic platform somehow. Tim Kaine in the membrane, everyone. It's good. It's good. It's a net positive. Lin-Manuel Miranda is one to watch. Absolutely. Up and coming.
He's one to watch. Okay. I need to... So, real quick.
I can't take it.
Okay. I'm going to do something. I'm going to hide the quiz, because Source Force reminded me of this, so we need to watch it. You guys can watch it I'm sharing it with you in the Discord.
Thank you.
This is Lin-Manuel's college production of Jesus Christ Superstar. Yeah.
Wait, is he wearing a...
I see is that a...
Yep.
A star. Okay.
Sure is.
Does this take place in a concentration camp?
It's a Holocaust Jesus Christ Superstar starring
turn it right on
Miranda.
I'm going to turn that right off.
That's what it is. Thank you, Source Force.
I can't make the connection. I'm sure that's very meaningful.
No, I'm sure it's...
John.
Here, let's just get to him.
I don't want to do it.
Seems like 30.
Oh, God.
Could you ask from any other man?
Oh, God.
I don't want to do it.
Okay, I'm sorry. All right, anyway. We'll We'll
I
put
just
that
asked Matt to bring me another drink.
Okay. That's it. That's all. We won't
It's
watch it
upsetting.
anymore.
I will probably watch that at some point.
Go check it out.
Yeah, go ahead and send that link around.
I don't understand why he did that.
Well, it was college. I don't think it was his decision. I think it might have been a student-directed thing, which is
Sure.
classic.
And look, we've all been on dates.
We've all been there.
Bet you
We've all been
money it was a fucking MFA. There was no way.
You know
it
it.
wasn't even a professor. It was a fucking
Nope.
MFA student that thought they were doing something. All right. That's just my gut.
Wow.
Anyway, Emmy, last question, and then we can finally go to a merciful break.
Okay.
In the musical of your life, what are you going to sing as your 11 o'clock number? So this is like, Emmy
like the
musical.
showstopper.
Yeah. And then this is the song that sums you up or sums up what you.
I don't know. As I famously said, I didn't prepare for this. I'm gonna fly blind. But our friend Jack texted me the questions ahead of time because he thought I'd want to prepare. Thank you, Jack. He's so sweet. I said I don't want to prepare.
Great friend of the
show. But I saw the last one. I saw this question, and I said, "Oh, I better think about that because I have no answer." And I don't know. Like maybe like Jellicle Cat.
No, wait, that's it. It's no accompaniment. It's just like a one single spot on the stage, and Emmy just like on the stage by herself, just going.
Or the one that's like Rumpelteazer.
Mungo Jerry and Rumpelteazer.
Yeah, Rumpelteazer.
They're a notorious couple of
Yeah.
cats. IMO. Notorious couple of cats. Just Emmy
Thank you,
alone,
babe.
unaccompanied. Thank you for the drink, Matt. Can we get a thanks, Matt, for the drink going in the chat?
Oh no.
Oh, no.
Too strong.
So we are about to go to break. I'm just getting, just using the correct gifs. Okay. All right. We're going to go to break, people. Oh, wait, no. Fucked up. Hang on a second.
No, there's no break. There's no break.
There's no break. No.
This is a 10 out of 12, folks.
No. It's fine. It's fine. We're all fine here.
It's fine.
I'm going to give anybody that didn't stick around beforehand, you didn't stick around for the 2 hours to watch the show. We were hacked. The stream was hacked. It was, very, very distressing. But it's all fine now, and I want to give the people that, missed that or were watching Jack playing Halo, I want a chance to get to know sort of what this show's about. It's not like the most well-known show in the world. So that's actually not the one I need. No, yeah. So let me... This is very smooth. I'm a great broadcaster, great Twitch streamer. Yeah, thank you. I love the accompaniment. Very, very good. All right. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go to break, and I'm going to play the Tony Awards performance of the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee from whatever year it was. I don't know. The Wikipedia is in another... Listen. We're going to go to break. There is a special guest in this, so enjoy that. And when I transition here, they will still be able to hear you, Emmy, and Alex, just to let you know. Okay, we're going to break.
May.
Fuck everyone in the chat. I hate them. Oh, shit. Is this live?
I'm
At the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee.
My parents keep on telling me Justine here is winning, although I know it isn't so.
But it's a very nice, very
25th annual. We memorized the manual about how to spell these words. Words that require thought. People think we're automatons, but that is exactly what we're not.
We are still missing a speller. Would Mr. Al Sharpton please join us on stage? Thank you. Take your seat.
Without further ado, let the spelling begin with Miss Park.
Marcy Park has skipped 2 grades at Our Lady of Intermittent Sorrows.
Miss Park, your word is phylactery.
Phylactery. Definition, please.
It's either of 2 small square leather boxes that are worn by Jewish men during morning weekday prayers.
Sentence, please.
Billy, put down that phylactery. We're Episcopalian.
Phylactery, phylactery.
That is correct. Mr. Barfy.
Parfait.
Mr. Barfy has a rare mucous membrane disorder.
Your word is lugubrious.
Oh, yes, of course. Lugubrious. Meaning extremely sad and droopy.
More or less, yes.
It's a topic I am all too familiar with. One moment, please.
Watch this technique. He calls it the magic foot. He's the only one I've ever seen use it. He spells the word out on the floor first so he can get a visual, then speaks it out loud.
Lugubrious. Lugubrious. Lugubrious!
That is correct.
I know.
Mr. Sharpton.
This fall, Mr. Sharpton will run for class president on a platform of racial equality and macaroni and cheese.
Your word is dengue.
Dengue. Could you give me the definition, please?
It's an infectious disease transmitted by mosquitoes and characterized by headache, joint pain, skin rash, and severe diarrhea.
Could you use it in a sentence, please?
When the pediatrician asked Billy to describe the symptoms of his dengue, he said, "It's like there was a race out of my tushy and everybody won."
Dengue. D-A-K-N-I-A.
You're about 1 for 6. It's D-E-N-G-U-E.
That's what I said.
My friend, you will be missed. But now go with dignity. This ends, but first on our list, you should go with pride. You've been the best looking dude we've had all day. You're a real smart dude as well. Now go home and spell. Give your squeeze some affection. Come on and make a connection. Spell with patience and care. Whoa, that's my prayer. Goodbye, goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye. Bye, 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 Reverend. Goodbye, goodbye, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Goodbye, Reverend. Goodbye.
All right, we're back. Hang on, they can't hear you. Oop. Oop. Hang on. Okay, now can hear Emmy, and now can hear Alex.
Wonderful, wonderful.
So glad I came back because I did not know how long that break was.
You were there.
It's a
We're all here. We're all met. So that was the Tony Awards performance of the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee. I also was, it's just I feel like really violated because like I was hacked. My system was hacked. I would certainly never do this, but somebody was broadcasting something on my stream just before this. I've heard rumors that it may have been a slime tutorial of some kind. I don't know what that means. But I believe that people may have seen a very shaky camcorder recorded production with random, like, 2 seconds missing here and there, and a lot of completely black screen as the person is hiding their camera from an usher. This is a
I have a question for Alex Kliner in reference to this recording that may or may not have been shown.
Yes.
Alex, do you think it was recorded on a BlackBerry Pearl?
I'm guessing it was a Pearl or maybe a Curve.
Well, that is a thing because, like, I was thinking about it, and like this is like the era that if this show came out like 2 years later, like the recording is like a million times better. Like if it
could have been a BlackBerry Bold.
It could have been somebody's
it was
like.
I think it was a Pearl.
This was like 2006 or 2005.
And I know that because I was like, this is my first foray back into musical theater. Like this is literally the first time I've seen a show in a decade, and I'm watching it on maybe the worst recording of all time. Like I'm looking at the back of someone's head that's black, and I said, "What year is it?" It's 2005. What model BlackBerry was out in 2005? BlackBerry Pearl.
We're gonna have 1/8 megapixels, only rear facing.
Right.
Yeah. No, the woman sitting directly in front with the like a million things in her hair that's like blocking out, and it's like only blocking the section of the stage that has the microphone where they go up to spell. We love it, but Lord help me, it is the only slime of this cast that I can find. That seems.
I'm not complaining.
No, but it's tragic because it's great. Like it's it deserved to have like a professional recording. I think, especially of this cast. Like a lot of, I mean, 2 people in particular got entire careers off of this show. Dan Fogler, who played William Barfay. There's an accent aigu. Who won a Tony Award for the show, and Jesse Tyler Ferguson, who was also nominated for a Tony. And basically, I'm pretty sure got Modern Family off of this.
Yeah.
And now he has many large homes, and we celebrate it. We celebrate it.
I was recently, and by recently, I mean before the pandemic, at Akbar in Los Angeles, and Jesse Tyler Ferguson and no less than 5 other small homosexual men came into Akbar, and they looked around, and then they left a few minutes after. So, stay out there, folks. You can have celebrity sightings.
I saw Brittany Howard today.
Wow.
Really?
I see her all the time. She was
Nashville's a
but I hadn't seen her in a while though.
Small town, kind of big city. Am I right?
And I was in the car. I was stopped at the stoplight. She was in the car going the other way side of the stoplight, and we were like right there. Right there.
Our friend whose name I'm not going to say for reasons that will immediately be clear. One time, I believe, almost ran over Taylor Swift when she was walking across the crosswalk, and she wasn't paying attention. She just slammed her brakes just in time. We're not going to say her name. This person will remain anonymous, but I just like to think about the alternate timeline.
Is this a fellow Tennessee person?
Yeah. No, this is
understand.
Also a Nashville encounter.
I have not heard this
encounter story that I remember. No. We are glad that didn't happen because I'm glad my friend isn't in prison. But that was a funny thing. Anyway, so
she'd figure a way to get out of prison.
she absolutely would. She would never go to prison. I love you if you're watching. Anyway, Emmy, 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee. So was this your first time watching it?
Yeah.
When did you watch it?
A few days ago.
All right. Yeah. I just watched
whenever you sent the link, whenever you sent me the link.
I actually watched it and I finished watching it probably an hour before I started streaming it. But I had seen this production before. And then here's the real gag, everybody. I directed this show at Community Theater, Kensington Arts Theater. I've seen the script that MTI, Music Theater International, a wonderful rights organization that we enjoy, and who, through the kindness of their benevolence, license us the shows to do. We appreciate them. Anyway, I've seen that script, and I have the full tea on what they give you when you are to produce this show and how to do it. And it's very very cool. I will say. This, like I said earlier, won the Tony Award for Best Book, and I am very, very glad it did because I think it has an amazing script. I think both the story, the characters aren't just funny and quirky. I think that they all get a nice bit of pathos, and the show really has something to say while also making you laugh. It's one of those, huh?
Okay. Small pitch.
Please subscribe to my channel.
Unboxing video for when MTI sends you their book package.
I bet it exists. No, actually, they
probably have the actors libretto.
They probably wouldn't let you do that. Rehearsal. They'd have you killed if you did that. No,
or
just kidding.
Try to sue you.
As a parody, they wouldn't really do that. Like I said, they're great, benevolent lords over us all. But yeah, that's it's. But anyway, so. Both she did a great job on the script. It's wonderful, but also the script itself is or slash the stage manager, I'm sure, had a big part in this as well. Whoever it is such a cool guide. They give you enough words, plenty, more than enough words, and they also say if you want to add some more words and definitions, you can. But here's great. I think it's best to just stick to those. We might have added a few. But for the most part, because you don't want to steer too far, especially with a comic show, you don't want to steer the voice. It's hard to replicate. You know what I'm saying? Alex is a comedy professional. You know what I'm saying, right, Alex?
Barely. What are you saying?
So, when you are to produce the show, the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee, a show that involves audience participation. And improv, some degree of improv as well, and invention being trusted to the hands of whoever's performing it, especially in the role of Panch and Peretti to a degree as well, but mostly to Panch, who gets to do all the really funny stuff. And so you have a degree of what you're doing, but it's not just have a spelling bee. There is a full script. That does have scripted in. This is when you pull up audience volunteer number 1, number 2, number 3, and I think they do 3 and then an option for 4. The one we watched, I believe, had 4, and sort of tells you when to give them an easy word. For the most part, they're giving them kind of until they're ready to eliminate them, giving them medium words that you might get, you might not get, and then eventually they're trying to get you out, basically. But it has all the words, all the funny definitions with funny sentences that you can use. And it also a bunch a list of funny intro lines that Rona Lisa Peretti was saying as people took the microphone.
I was wondering if those were scripted or it's basically here are suggestions for them. You can plot them in whenever. Or
now here's what I don't know.
It's
Alex is hitching. He's hitching. Folks, we love the internet connection of Frederick, Maryland. You're back now. You're back.
Okay.
I missed the end of your point, but
I just heard that you were saying. I thought I got out my question. My question was just that I said that they give you options or it's scripted.
Yeah, it is scripted, but they do say especially there are times where they're you can modernize this reference, feel free, or you can change this sentence around based on local wherever you are or whatever.
Right, but they have the ones stipulation, you must leave in all references to Bush and his administration. These will live on forever. These are important to keep. Right?
I mean,
that took my breath away.
They did eventually. I heard that it was like a lot of contention, but the producers eventually stepped in, pulled the script out of Rachel Scheinken's hands, and removed all the references to 9/11 being an inside job. She was trying to get the truth out. Don't blame her. She knows.
That's what I mean, man. When you
Building
talk about
7, it doesn't add up. It doesn't add up.
When you talk about all the potential of musical theater, that's the shit I'm talking about. Using it as a place to tell the truth about,
we're doing a bit. We're doing a bit.
Well, you figure out if we're doing a bit.
No, we're gonna be called like fake, like misinformation. No. So, the dead naming. Well, yeah, it wasn't actually dead naming of they did Chaz Bono's. They said
Chastity. Yeah,
they did dead name Chaz, but they had.
That seems like an odd choice.
Well, he hadn't transitioned yet. He hadn't transitioned yet.
But that dates that like you can't do that. Like, did they not think about that?
That is a spot in the script. Just to give you an idea. So when I directed it, it was 2015, early 2015, February. And the reference that I put in there was like for Secretary of Education for President RuPaul, and at the time that was like a very like funny what a funny person that would be to be president. But see,
so you can change it.
But if you were to do that now, they'd be like, that's actually a perfect liberal that does fracking. Like that's exactly who actually would be president. And so now it wouldn't be as funny of a choice, maybe.
Who we put in now?
I guess.
President TikTok star.
I would say
insert name here.
A president recently freed Britney Spears, so she's like Nelson Mandela, like she's finally freed, and then she becomes president. All right, I think I solved it. So that's it.
I guess I don't even understand the why at any point Cher's child would be anyone's decision to slot in for like a hypothetical presidency, if not.
What was Chaz doing at the time?
I don't know.
I think it probably just came out as queer or something.
Right.
And
well,
they were like hilarious.
Just being a visible lesbian
let's have a celebrity.
Such an odd thing. It was like either him or Ellen. At the time.
He was.
Like, who else was there?
He was Chaz on Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah,
so,
he had transitioned. I think he transitioned just a couple years, like not long after this. Like
right.
Yeah, Chaz was always like a very like at the forefront of LGBT like activism, like with a capital A, like being one of the people with like the HRC and stuff like that. So I get it.
He's always been an activist.
Yeah, right. And okay, yeah. So that is not, but it's still not great to watch now. It's like because you're right. It does immediately date it, but they didn't know that it was going to date it. And
but you can change it.
Right, you can. Yeah. Like now you could say, I wouldn't say, but you could say like Caitlyn Jenner. I wouldn't, because actually maybe that would be a funny choice, because it would be like, it's good because it's like representation. Like I think there's a really funny take you could do on Logan, and we'll go through on like all the characters. But Alex, tell me what you think of this. If you could do a funny take on Logan where she's like not just like very like outspoken, but she's like super like lib too, and you could like make that kind of a joke with her.
Oh yeah, like she's wearing a shirt that's like the yard sign that's like in the house.
I'm still with her button. Like yeah.
That would work.
You could do that. That could be really funny. Yeah, she's got the Elizabeth Warren Holocaust tattoo. I'm just kidding.
Oh god, yeah, with the hex code of the Elizabeth Warren green. She has a big structural Bailey T-shirt, and like she elects women.
Yeah,
she elects women keyring on her Subaru key. It's called Organizing Everywhere, sweetie.
She starts doing the Pete Buttigieg dance.
Yeah,
the high hopes.
She says just like blanket good feelings about Democrats.
Horrible.
I'm gonna do this, but I direct this next. So it's
people will enjoy that for sure.
But definitely when it comes to the kids, theirs are very much scripted. I mean, I don't remember if they tell you can't change their words and definitions and sentences, but I really wouldn't, because those are especially intentionally picked. Like with like Leaf Coney Bear always having a South American rodent, and like that he has to spell, or so. Or like Barfay always gets words that are like about him that are like lugubrious or antihistamine when he's got like these congestion issues or whatever. So those are, and where those happen, and obviously like where the songs happen. So those are very much scripted, but they also do script in, you know, having the audience there, bringing the audience into stuff. Especially the song Pandemonium is really written to like put the audience, like throw the audience into the middle of the fray and like make them feel like, because you're kind of so here's the thing, is why I think this show's great, even though it kind of, when you tell people this show with audience participation and improv and adults playing kids is really, really, really good. Like you're like, what? Is that the audience participation isn't like they just are pulling random people. Like they have a list of all the... No, there's like, when you get your ticket or when you get there, there's like a table or there's like somebody that's clearly like, sign up to volunteer in the Bee. And usually, especially when you're like on Broadway, when I was doing this in directing the community theater production, I was like going up to people and being like, hi, can you please spell... Like, especially like there'd be like people I know that are there, and I would be like, look, I can have you be the first one out, okay? Just when you get pulled up, you can just spell it wrong on purpose, but just please, we need one more person.
I do think that I am not a fan of audience participation, and I hated it when I was an audience member. I hated it, you know, I just think it's bad, but it works
because it's not compulsory.
It's so structured. Like you are so confined to the structure of it is a spelling bee that you can't stray from that.
Which again,
I almost wonder what came first. They were like, we have this idea for, you know, I'm sure the spelling bee idea came first, but it's like, you know, it's so structured, it fits, it works. And this is maybe the only time I've ever seen it where it actually works and isn't like just so cringy that you want to like peel your face off.
So this was originally it was a group called the Farm, and it was a improvisational play that was created by Rebecca Feldman. Yeah, I know, you don't want that. Rebecca Feldman and the Farm, and it was called Crepuscule. Oh, it was called Crepuscule, actually. Crepuscule. I mean, but it was spelled out like that. That's the title of it. I'm looking at the Wikipedia now. As you know, this is what all streamers and Twitch streamers that call themselves experts do, is they read the Wikipedia live on the stream and call themselves experts. And that's what I'm doing here right now. So anyway, then eventually it was workshopped and developed at Barrington Stage Company. And that is when the script would... So Rebecca Feldman would direct that when they fleshed that out in the summer of 2004. When did they bring on Finn and all of that? Anyway, William Finn.
Yeah,
this is very informative. Alex, what's your take on William Finn? Let's start here. William Finn did the what?
But I hear he's a pervert.
Okay. But allegedly, I know nothing about that.
I said I heard, but that's not my take on his work. Well, I wanted to talk a little bit about the audience participation element. Having spent time.
Let me just finish my thought on that real quick. Yeah. Is that it's not compulsory. You sign up, and then they are very much coached on what to do. They say, whatever you do, you go up. You always ask for the definition first. Ask for it to be used in a sentence, and do your best to spell the word. Don't try to do bits. Don't try to joke around with them. It's going to be funnier if you really try to play the game and really try to win. That's like, I think, basically the gist of what they tell everybody that signs up. Okay. That's...
Yeah, well, and all that is very... I worked for for many years for a prominent Chicago-based sketch
Previously
and
mentioned,
improv
we're not
theater.
going to have to say it again, but yes.
We're not saying it because among myself, other people have been harmed by that place. But you can, you can infer what I'm saying. All of that is the fucking same, though. Like aside from the signing up in advance, but like that kind of. And I was watching that with a mind to it, because I have helped create many of these types of scenes wherein you bring an audience member up, you quietly try to, or you use physical and body language to tell them to shut up if they're trying to do stupid hammy bits, because that's not what they're there for. They're there to be moved around and made to look awesome by trained people. And I was watching that in the context of the first act of Spelling Bee, and like
technically it is a one act, but it is clear the first half and second half. But
right, well, because they kick them. And I think one of the you get the first kid out at the end of the reason I think of it as two acts is because Chip is gone, or what's his name?
Yeah,
Chip is gone at the end of the first act, and then by then all of the audience participation people are gone.
Yes.
But one thing they do manage to pull off while there are at least three audience members on stage is that one of the only numbers with any sort of dynamic staging, which is Pandemonium.
Mm-hmm.
They even managed to pull off a small practical swinging effect, which I just thought was, I don't think that the production quality lives up to.
So here's
show.
the thing: this isn't Broadway. Clarify
right.
What we watched.
Mm-hmm.
That
it's
was
not?
no. This would be probably the second stage theater, the off Broadway production. I believe the last performance, I think, of that one. There are minimal lyrical changes, most notably in "Woe Is Me," not Olive, a Logan song, but it is basically the same, and the cast is the same, I believe, and yeah, so the staging is not allowed to be as dynamic. Now, when it was done on Broadway, it was done in, and I know this because Templeton Stagg was my buddy who is accomplished Broadway actor in his own right, and we love having him here in the chat, was saying that this was in Circle in the Square Theater on Broadway, which is you can do in the round basically in there, but they did a full thrust, so it would have like a whole like basically runway kind of up to like the microphone and then like full around.
So you'd keep the bleachers in the
and it probably would have been a lot more dynamic.
Yeah,
I've seen that.
I was a little shocked at how limited the staging was for this show in this iteration. Now knowing that when it opened on Broadway, it probably had a lot more things going on.
I'm just going to pause you for 1 second, and I'm going to say that Templeton Stagg, do not talk down being an understudy on Broadway. You were swing for a Broadway show. That's like huge. That's amazing. We celebrate that here on this show. That is every bit as good. All right, sorry, Alex, continue.
Yeah, no, I was just a little surprised by it. That's all.
Yeah,
I have to plug my computer in. I'll be right back.
Okay. Well, Emmy, then I'll I'll talk to you. So,
thank you.
Alex ruined everything, but it'll be fine. I'm just gonna keep it like this because it'll resolve itself. So, Emmy, they can only see the top of your head right now, but it's fine. When Alex plugs in his computer, it comes back. This will resolve. Yeah, it's great. It's better this way. Anyway. What was your immediate reaction to watching the show? What's your overall take?
So when it first started playing, I was like, I don't like this. I'm not into it. Like, because it was like this is a musical theater song. This is you know what I mean? Like, it was very it just gave me like weird feelings about it, the whole thing. But then as I got into it, I actually stopped paying attention to it for a little while, and then I realized that about almost to the end of the first half that these aren't actual actors, these are audience members.
She didn't know the gag.
I didn't know, but I figured it out.
She was like, "Wait, what are these? What's the deal with these characters?"
Right, but I enjoyed myself. Like, I definitely enjoyed myself. I definitely was into it. I enjoyed watching it. Like, I remembered why I really liked that 11 o'clock number a lot.
I Love You song?
Also, yes.
I don't know if it technically qualifies,
that,
but it is on my my playlist available on Spotify.
Yeah. Thank you. Good plug. I thought that what's his face? Jesse Tyler. What is his name?
Yeah, Jesse Tyler Ferguson.
Jesse Tyler Ferguson.
I thought he was good. I thought he was great.
I really think he's fantastic.
I thought he was transcendent, honestly, and heartbreaking. I thought he was great. I thought it was really, really good and really funny. And I understand why he is, famous and rich and famous and all that. So it got me. Like, it definitely it hooked me, like, but I wasn't like, it was also a lot funnier than I thought it would be. Like, just having listened to it, I thought it would be a lot sadder, but it was a lot funnier than I thought it would be. It was just, it was light and fun.
While still having more sadness than you would expect from, like, audience participation, funny comedy show, like, still more of that. On Jesse Tyler Ferguson, I agree that he's, to me, always really the standout, especially, at least in this slime tutorial. Even though Dan Fogler, who plays William Barfay.
Who I thought was Gad. I thought it was Gad the whole time.
She thought it was Gad. No.
I thought, up until I saw it in person, I always
thought zoom in. Yeah.
Gad.
Well, I believe it was Templeton that was also saying during the when we were streaming the show that Josh Gad kind of owes his career to Dan Fogler. He kind of just stole his whole bit. I kind of feel like Gad's Book of Mormon character is William Barfay a little bit.
He was Gad. Okay, that's what Gad was in. Okay.
Yeah, he was Book of Mormon.
I thought that he was, speaking of chewing the scenery.
Right. Well, and that's for me. Mm-hmm. I think he's doing something really cool, and it's really big, and it's like very
big,
very complete though, and really considered, and like I don't know the words, like it's detailed, and he like maintains that, even though it's very like dialed to 11 or whatever. But to me, I agree that Jesse Tyler Ferguson, though, really gets, I think, sort of the magic of making it not just like a gimmick to have.
It's not a personification.
To have an adult playing a child. That it's not just a joke. That there's actually value in it, because you recognize so much remembering being like that and having that childlike nature, and I think he gets that more than any. And I would say that
it is very. I think it is very funny that he literally like sees God or whatever, and just
and he goes cross-eyed.
That's funny. Yeah, it's very funny.
Yeah. And that's so interesting you bring that up. That was a moment that I never. Listening to the soundtrack was like how he kind of like they would have some of the interstitial dialogue included in the song, and then all of a sudden he would just start saying it, and I'm like, how is he doing this? Mm-hmm. What is the thing that's happening?
Well,
and
that's what
he crosses his eyes and he.
And that's what you miss when you try to, and that's why, especially with comedy shows, I've said this a lot on the show, that I don't like to start with the soundtrack. I like to see the show, know the show. I think like for the producers, maybe I might have listened to that soundtrack first because I knew the movie, and so I could kind of place those songs better. But generally, I remember listening to Urinetown and not liking it until I was in it and understood it or saw it. Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing. Like, so I didn't listen to Book of Mormon ever, and I didn't until I was watching it with Alex for our Musical Theater's Good, actually now available on YouTube. That's one of the few that's on YouTube.
Plug.
I've stopped.
Love YouTube.com.
I've stopped uploading the YouTubes, guys, because nobody watches them. I look at the view numbers and they just make me sad, and it's a lot of
theater. It's best live.
It is.
Right?
I agree. You gotta watch it live. If somebody wants to do the work for me of like putting this on a podcast, I'll pay you money. We'll talk about it.
No.
DM me.
Wait, do you need someone to extract audio from a video file that you could maybe put in a Dropbox and then you pay them to send you back
offers
the
off the
audio?
table. I'm gonna pay Alex to do it. All right. So
okay, I was
moving
gonna
on.
say I can. Okay. Yeah.
Never mind. That is totally something you could do.
Like in minutes.
Oh no, my cat's about to do a disaster. Oh no. Hang on. Okay. All right. Okay, never mind. I was distracted briefly.
Is this episode more or less off the rails than it normally goes?
Actually, I think it is a little more on the rails than last week. The cat spurred that question. I mean, the cats, that's an X factor that can go off any episode. Sometimes they're very sweet and they're just very calm. And then sometimes they're chasing each other and fighting. Like, yeah, this is relatively on the rails.
Jackson's pretty on the rails.
Yeah.
Okay.
For
Everyone's
this show.
being on the rails.
But yeah, Jesse Tyler Ferguson. I definitely also want to shout out, the god Celia Keenan Bolger as Olive Ostrovsky, another one that I think really gets a heart broken. And I think that that's such like a universal understood character that even if you weren't, and that's a thing with a lot of these kids is just like, if you weren't that kid, you knew that kid kind of thing, which is kind of like a cliche thing to say. But like, if you weren't that like latchkey kid, you like knew that kid that like their parents were never around. They were just like always kind of taking care of themselves or whatever. Like that's like we all know.
And
that.
if you don't know the latchkey kid in your friend group, you're the latchkey kid. Okay.
If your key's got a latch, you might be a latchkey kid.
Don't do that.
An attempt was made. Okay.
What are we
Yes.
talking about?
We're talking about the musical, the 25th annual Putnam Spelling Bee.
Celia Keenan Bolger as Olive Ostrovsky in her adorable pink overalls, singing the "I Love You" song. And...
Yeah. I mean that it is also like it's got a very like I'm a sucker for a harmony, right? And it's like it's got a very lush quality to it, the whole thing, which I think if I was like 16 to 20 and had seen this in person, I would be like obsessed with it.
Good for
at the age, I think now I'm like, this is cute, but I think if I was younger and seeing it for the first time, I would have been like, this is transcendent, like this is theater. I think I would have had that thought about it.
I might go ahead and take this opportunity to drop my first critical opinion.
Hey!
So if you want that, let's get CO in chat.
Wait, let me say one thing real quick, real quick. Sorry.
Okay, never mind. Don't put.
Okay.
Oh, I was just going to say that while the slime tutorial was playing earlier, a good friend of the show, Yonkler, did say that there was somebody at his college or high school, maybe it was high school, that there was like a trio of people that loved to do it and would do it at every opportunity, and I think he got quite sick of it. So I think that is, to Emmy's point, that is like, the teen or young people being like, yes, this is everything. And it is one of those... Yeah, that when you listen to it for the first time, and it's one of the few songs in the show that does have those kinds of harmonies, especially that aren't played for laughs, because sometimes like the harmonies are to like give it like a very triumphant or like operatic sound as like a jokey kind of thing, which is like a fine choice, but it's just so it stands out, especially for that reason. Okay. And now that I have filibustered Alex, I yield the floor to my friend, my good friend, the senator from Frederick, Maryland.
Okay. Thank you. My critical opinion is, well, we're going to unpack some of that introduction soon. But before that, critical opinion is that the I Love You song, frankly, is the only song that sounds to me professional enough to be put up from this show. It's the only memorable song. William Finn is obviously an incredibly gifted composer, and an incredibly gifted, and he thinks really amazing, like harmonically, not just like vocally, but like in his arrangements. He has a lot of stuff going on. The I Love You song is the only song like worth, I think, listening to. Like, help me think of another one.
So I would agree that out of context, like these songs would never work out of context.
They barely work in context, in my opinion.
No, I think I would say I really want to see what the Broadway staging is because I think so much happens up at that microphone that not having that dynamic and what that actually was, I really feel shortchanged kind of.
Yes, Templeton's right. I'm not that smart is
I'm not that smart is really good, and I could see that being especially done in like a cabaret for a guy. I'm sure if there are any Catholic University graduates in the chat, they will tell me that that was done in so and so's senior cabaret or whatever. And. Yeah, but no, I'm not. You're not going to hear My Friend the Dictionary. You're not going to hear Woe Is Me. You might hear I Speak 6 Languages, but it's very short. Also, that's like a 2-minute song.
And that also that song to me feels especially like, I know I do think by and large, and I would guess because I'm not as enthusiastic about the book as you are, but you spent more time with the book. I would guess that the reason that the characters feel so fleshed out is less to do with like the construction around it, including like their songs and their lines, and more to do with like the amount of clarity and precision that the performers are bringing to it. Because, like a high overachieving, it's not 5, it's 6. I'm going to do the little thing on the piano. I'm going to do a little tap number. I'm going to do right. This is a trope, right? This kid that is, and frankly, let's put an East Asian kid out there being, the overachiever. We've seen this trope specifically. But I also thought that she was remarkable. But I Speak 6 Languages I don't think lifts that character anywhere.
Just to clarify, there's no racial you have to cast for any of these. I do think it encourages having a diverse cast, and certainly I would be interested. This is a hot take I have because we haven't talked about Mitch Mahoney, the comfort counselor, and I would love a take on that where he's a white guy that's a person. And he's got a big tattoos and he's a big biker guy or something. He's looking really gruff. I think that could be really funny too.
Or you do the Silicon Valley. Richard Hendricks' lawyer that's not the Pied Piper
speaking
lawyer.
Of canceled, Jesus.
What'd you say?
I said, speaking of canceled, this MF talking Middleditch on here.
He's literally on a multicam sitcom playing in the living room now that my parents are watching, so I think he's going to be fine.
Not yet.
My point is, it's just that there was that kind of that lawyer who was this very white dude who was very trim and
I just want to say to your friend Asia that she's cast as Logan. She wants to be Logan. Cast.
Done and done in this hypothetical.
We are seeing I'll say, and everybody in the chat, feel free to say who you want to come out for. We are going to audition everybody in our minds. And I will say that we talked about this before the show. We want to see Jack for both Principal Panch and Leaf as well. That's who we're going to see Jack for. But anybody else, pitch who you want to be. Templeton Stagg, knowing that Templeton understudied Patrick for SpongeBob on Broadway, I'm going to say that maybe we're going to go ahead and see him for Barfay. I think. But everybody else, just pitch who anyone else you want to be seen for.
I want to be
we'll take it into consideration.
Or the comfort counselor.
Okay. All right. Great. We'll see if and then we could do that exactly what I was talking about. That kind of. Oh, and you want to do Silicon Valley, Jesse Eisenberg, Lex Luthor version of a parolee is what you're thinking for your take on.
Yeah, but there's
Mitch Mahoney.
also, and then also parole doesn't necessarily have to mean violent or drug-related street crimes, as is coded, kind of how it was in the thing we saw. Could be inside trading, scam, Bitcoin fraud.
Right. And
just general scams.
So you're just
general scams.
You're Can we have you be like detoxing hard because you have to like take regular piss tests or something? So you're like coming down off of like being like a like hardcore cokehead or something. So you're like constantly just like, okay, great.
Oh, cocaine is what I'm weaning to.
Oh,
you know?
Okay.
We're doing the meth thing, you know.
Oh, okay. So we're getting off meth. All right, Emmy, who you want to be seen for? Who you playing? I think Rona Lisa Peretti for Emmy.
Yeah,
that's good.
Rona Lisa Peremi, frankly.
That fits.
And no offense, but Rona Lisa Peremi.
No offense.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but Rona
She's a successful realtor, yes?
Yeah, duh.
Yeah.
Duh.
I do think that's a really funny, like, it's like her one character trait, but it's like she looks like such a realtor. Like, that's like, she is such like a realtor ad.
Yeah,
like,
she's buttoned up.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we're all over the place, but let's give the general lay of the land here. So actually, that's a great place to start, is because that's how the musical starts, with Rona Lisa Peretti, who is sort of like the main host of the Spelling Bee and also a former champion. And the show starts with her having a flashback to she was at the 3rd annual Spelling Bee, and was the champion. She won on the word syzygy, whatever. And then it's all the kids coming in and signing up. And so then here are your kids. Let's go through them. You have William Barfay. There's an accent aigu, who is basically being raised by more or less his single mom. His dad is is out of the picture, and he has a lot of resentment towards any time he has to go spend, and he hates his stepmom. These are all things that are kind of it. But he's also very congested sounding at all times. He's like says he has like a mucus issue, and his core. And then this is the other thing, is that they're all at the Spelling Bee, and this is like actually kind of something that was in, I think, the original workshop comedy production. That is, I think, really true, and it's like sort of the very true thing about actual spelling bees that they kind of lock into, is they ideate by either like spelling it, like, and this is true, like the kids will like spell it into their hands, or they'll like spell it into their arm, or like see it in front of them or something like that. And like that, so that's kind of like with Leaf, how he like goes cross-eyed or whatever, like that's like kind of
he just intuits it.
Exactly. So William Barfay he claims a magic foot that he spells the word. His foot will always spell the word on the stage or whatever for him, and he will read what his foot spells. So that's him. Then you have Olive Ostrovsky, who is the aforementioned latchkey child, and she got there on her own on the bus. Her mother. So this is the other thing I love, is talk about some coded asshole lib parents. Her mother is in an ashram in India, like on a sojourn or whatever for God knows how long. Is that Teddy? Hello, Teddy.
I've muted.
No, it's okay. It's fine. I love hearing it, Teddy. So yeah, she's like in India, of course, white lady in India, and she's.
And don't they refer? I'm sorry, I'm splitting hairs here. Don't they refer to like? Doesn't she say Bombay? And it's clearly been Mumbai.
No.
We can't.
Oh no, she says, "I'll join you in the Bombay sun."
Yeah, and Bombay has been Mumbai since before then. I'm just saying, something to think about.
I will say it's not exactly.
Like,
it's. Oh no, I was going to say it's not exactly clear what time it is, but no, there are multiple references to the Bush administration, so
yes!
Never mind.
and the Bono child.
Yes.
Dead
naming the Bono, which it was they didn't know. It wasn't at the time.
No one's worried about that. That's not the problem. It's why select that person.
Any media consumed before 2019, I'm gonna say, is gonna have problems.
Oh yeah. And I think this is actually very merciful for the most part. There's really not. Yeah. And the reason that I think it holds up generally, the comedy stays like it's not I mean, besides those like few references to the Bush administration, to me, is because it's really based in the character and these sort of universal things about these types, these and like yes, these are kind of archetypes and stereotypes, but it's like sort of for a reason, and it presents them first as caricatures and cartoons that I think over the course of the show you really get to like know more about them in a kind of cool way. While it's still funny. But they become each of them, and I think each of them are at a point where they're learning about like maturity and getting and like disappointment and like getting older and like all these kind of like trade-offs or whatever like that come with just like getting like, you know, being at that age where they're like, oh shit, you know, life kind of isn't fair or whatever. Like, and I think it does a really good job with that. And so it's just, that's like, since the comedy's so based in that like kind of really truthful thing that it just, it doesn't really age poorly for me. No, Avenue Q, Source Force Contra, which was like the year before this, is very much the opposite.
there is no way to do Avenue Q.
Yeah. No, not
right now. I mean, like,
not great.
No, not great. Tremendous amount of wonderful music. That show is
Bobby Lopez is a genius. Bobby Lopez.
Oh my
genius.
God! Tremendous music.
Double EGOT. Man's got a double EGOT, and he's like our age, or like a few years older than us. Insane.
Yeah. Oh well.
We're happy. We're happy with where we are in our lives.
But that's kind of the interesting thing, right? About like anything. God, you never think when you first, like, especially if you're, like a privileged white person who, like, doesn't have to deal with, like, institutionalized hate or anything against you, to be like, oh, cool, this is kind of edgy for a musical. Like, okay, this is funky. And then you're like, 15 years later, you're like,
you look back and you're like, whoops.
Holy shit.
No.
Well, and
part of the work is to continue to learn and hold yourselves accountable, folks.
Well, to your point, like musical, like especially the writers of musical theaters are very white, very male, and that's something that I love about the show. Is again, I love this book, and I think that that's really the star of this show. I think to your point that it's really hard to make those music cues sound organic. My other suspicion is that if you were there in person and not getting this like all around kind of like that, it would also possibly be more effective.
That's not to say, and I will admit here that I did have experience watching it. I started crying at the end for like no reason. I didn't think I would, and I didn't know where it came from. But I'm like, okay, this did give me catharsis and like the pure.
It's because musical theater is good, actually.
No, but I can watch a fucking like Apple commercial, and get and cry. Like it's like let's not put.
We're all on a knife's edge.
Yeah.
Well,
Templeton Stag is made at Barrington by William Finn. It's an inherently Northeast lib show. Very, 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 very true.
Totally.
But
no, go, please.
I will say that I celebrate a rare woman, because there honestly aren't that many even just women doing like musical theater, like writing either books or, I mean, more in the books, because I think like Marcia Norman, who did Night Mother, she's written a couple books of musicals. But last week we did, I singing the praises of Shrek the Musical, because one of my I would say my second favorite composer, folks. Number 2. We all know who number 1 is. Don't even gotta say. Don't even gotta say. But number 2, Janine Tesori, the God. She's wonderful. I love her. Celebrate.
She, however, did not work on this show.
No, but I just wanted to say Rachel Schenken as well on this show.
That's right.
But I'm saying 2 weeks in a row, I'm trying to like give the ladies some love, celebrate me. So I'm just saying that you want to know who my
Thank you so much on behalf of all women.
Do you want to know who my favorite composer is?
Please tell us.
The woman watching this stream right now.
Stop it.
Hey, you look good. All right. And you're doing great.
This sucks.
What's going on?
Okay, now we're off the rails. All right.
This sucks. But yes, to the women watching this, thank you.
Jack says I'm going to prison. Okay. All right. I'm going. Bye. Lock him up.
You got Asia on your case.
I've canceled.
Let's go ahead and stop pulling. Let's go ahead and stop pulling that mic.
Emmy, you're not going to want to be associated with this. Hang on.
Let's glue this whole macro. You know what I mean?
Sing that song again that you did at the beginning.
No, it blew out my voice.
I did like that.
Hang on. I'm saying not Emily, someone else. We're keeping you anonymous, so you don't have to be associated with me.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right. So getting this back.
Hey, can I please get my social media on?
What? What are you talking about?
Can I get an A. Kliner under my fucking name?
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry. You're right. Okay.
Don't follow me. I don't want to be followed.
No.
All right, guys, talk about the characters. Okay, so Emmy, I want you to talk about. Okay, so Olive Ostrovsky. Oh yeah, well, one more thing. She doesn't have her entrance fee is a big point of contention.
Oh, and that broke my heart.
And her dad's not there. Her dad's supposed to be coming, but he's like coming from work and he's late. And her mom is a fucking deadbeat, awful lib woman, the real villain of the show, who is off doing yoga in India and fucking probably like just the worst colonialist shit you could imagine. So anyway, Alex.
Okay, but she does have a mental illness.
Oh, that's right.
Okay, listen, before we start demonizing women living with mental illness, maybe we should be looking at the dad who is in town but couldn't come.
It is, well, she says blame it on your daddily and mammally. Daddily
That's right.
and mammally.
They had to get that rhyme in.
Yeah,
because depression runs in our family.
That's right.
Yeah, that's a very finny. That's very finny.
Yeah, and I would love to just like unpack what you think that means. Like, I feel like there's so much like unsaid.
I think it's her mom speaking cutesy to her daughter.
Oh, interesting.
It's a term of endearment.
Right. Write that down.
What? That's it. That's what I would tell the actor.
Yeah. We had to make it rhyme.
I mean, but also it does make sense because it's like, oh, that's like pet names they have for each other or something. Who the fuck knows? It's fine. Hey, Alex, here's what I got to say to you, all right? Think twice before you poo-poo it, okay?
You'll see, boys. Yeah, I didn't realize that it was verboten to make fun little quippy jokes about a successful musical product. I apologize for not giving it its due. I'll do better.
Okay, so that's Olive. Alex, why don't you tell us about Logan Schwarzenegger? Tell us about her while I get your name here.
Thank you. She's a wonderful young child who is competing in the spelling bee along with the other people. She is raised by two dads. She has two dads. And one way that she expresses her cool personality is by having two ponytail, what do you call that? Like front pigtails? Braided bang? A braided bang kind of in the front. I thought that actor was freaking awesome.
Yeah,
I adored her. Very overbearing homosexual fathers who will.
Now let me ask you: were you offended by that portrayal as a gay man? Was it to you like watching Brer Bear or?
Oh my god!
Like.
I know. I like anything. I just think like it's written like in because William Finn is gay, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say this like reeks of the kind of attitude that like a wealthy white older gay guy would have, which is like, you know, men are the alpha, so when you have two of them together, any woman in their path must be the best. And I'm sure it's not that deep, but I wasn't offended by it. But it's a type of character or a type of like family situation. I feel like I've seen before. And as someone pointed out in the chat earlier, absolutely, they are using tropes. But no, I didn't think that.
Oh yeah, they're using tropes.
Was that a trope though in 2005? 2005? Like, had we seen that kind of like
I think
aggressive homosexual family dynamic before? Or was this like actually progressive for the time?
I don't think it was progressive. I just think that it was like kind of the
progressive, not progressive.
Yeah, no, but like, yeah. Was it like roughly? No, I think it's probably one of the probably safer.
Or was it unexpected at the time? Is what I'm asking.
I don't know.
I don't know because I don't have the reference point for it, but I'm wondering because it was like, you know.
So my thing is, I do think that of the things that haven't aged as well, it's not that it's aged poorly, but there is an element of the very fact of her having gay dads is a joke in and of itself. Like the her intro line, the very first line that Rona Lisa Peretti says as she takes the microphone, is she says Logan is the president of the Gay Straight Alliance at her elementary school, which is like a very funny concept in 2005 of an elementary school having a gay straight alliance. Now, I bet you there are actually tons of gay straight alliances in elementary schools now. I think probably, at least, I don't know. Somebody with kids.
Maybe.
People, there's probably people in there with kids.
Like, doesn't have to be like so formalized now. Cause
Jack, thank you for the sub.
Yeah, I think that like and then you'll also recall that like she tacks on like and lesbian and transgender too. And I don't remember it getting a laugh.
No. She says bisexual and transgender because they said the gay and straight are like or whatever it was. Yeah, and so the gay and lesbian alliance, and she said and bisexual and transgender. Which is also played for a laugh, right? Because it's like, how ridiculous to include all of these. And of course, a second later, LGBT became the thing that was said.
Right, that's very funny that this was like a small snapshot right before the ubiquitous LGBTQI.
Right.
Whatever extension you want to use.
So those are kind of things that those are elements that date it. But there are ways that when you do it now, you can easily like de-emphasize those being like jokes and they give you the leeway to lightly rewrite. I mean, like not rewrite the whole thing, but like tailor it, fudge. Like you don't need to basically. I mean, its roots are in an improv play. It's like the way it's like, but it is scripted, like in the way that Curb Your Enthusiasm is scripted, where it's like, this is the interaction, like these are blah, 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 blah. I mean, at this point, it's more scripted than that, but that's what the roots of it are in, I guess.
Right.
And on the hair, I wanted to say that I always really like that because it's such a great visual representation of her, it's like literally uptight, like that's like actually what it looks like. It's like so wound up that it's like looks like it hurts even just to look at, and it's like and there's some productions that I've seen that they, and I think even mine, we kind of like put wire in the hair to actually like make it kind of like even like go out, so it's like the idea implication that it's so tightly wound that it's like sticking up. Kind of.
Yeah, I like see now like the new version. I'm sorry, character's name. Sorry to this character. What was it again?
Logan Schwarzenegger, which Source Force has pointed out that is another aspect of her gay dads is that they've combined their last names, which is why she has such an unwieldy last name.
Right. I think like the 2021 take would, like this post-left e-girl. And it's like,
well, because like that is like kind of a type, isn't it? With like a
severe straight black bang.
I mean, it's funny because so Jesse Tyler Ferguson. We haven't talked about Leaf yet, but Jesse Tyler Ferguson plays Leaf, but he also plays Logan's dad. And when I say that he got Modern Family off of this, I mean he got Modern Family off of playing himself in Modern Family for half of this play, because more than any other of the kids that plays other characters, and all of them do it to a degree, except I don't think Barfay or Olive really do, but the other kids all do. He spends the most time as his like adult other character. That's right. Because he comes on stage, he interacts with Logan during the B and stuff like that. So so I think that overbearing, like, because, you know, I think it's from the perspective of, again, and this is the stereotype, and I'm going to be dealing in tropes. So cancel me now, Alex. I give you full leeway to just hard cancel me at any point.
I don't think that that's a productive way to enter a dialogue.
But I want you to do this as a friend. I want you to do this.
Okay, you want
me to be canceling this whole entire thing.
Okay.
Emmy, you're no longer attached. It's not
I haven't
you.
spoken in minutes.
Hang on.
Oh, interesting.
I don't really have anything to get
Okay, good. If you do at any point, I was going to say about Jesse Tyler Ferguson playing his adult self, and I lost it.
Marijuana.
No.
Really, you know?
Never once. Not even once.
Anyway, he was good.
Oh, I should say that I have my vaccine appointment. And it is on April 20th. So maybe I'll watch some Reefer Madness.
Uh-huh. Sorry, my internet froze up for just a second. What is the thing that you were about to say that I was supposed to cancel you over? No marijuana leaf?
He doesn't remember.
Oh, no, this was it.
Oh.
I remember now.
Good.
Thank you. Jesse Tyler Ferguson as the gay dad. That is, and this is where I'm going to get to tropes, that is kind of like the stereotype, right? That they're like, especially like a coded to be highly successful gay couple.
Right.
You know, you assume they went through adoption or surrogacy or one of these processes that would have been very expensive or whatever.
You have to win the child,
right? And then and especially
you are a man,
especially in 2005. I mean, like, and not everybody will even do this for, like, so it's like it was very, I can imagine. So that's all coded in there, that like that puts all the pressure on her, and that's why they are, well, you assume why they're so overbearing. And I think that's kind of why that stereotype kind of exists in general.
Sure.
More or less. So that I think is really, really like effective, and that is something that doing today is still true today. So that even though it's not as much a joke that she has gay dads now, it's, you can just play it a lot more straight, and it's just a lot more kind of effective because it's not as weird. It's like when I did this in 2015, it wasn't even like what? It's a gay couple that has a kid.
Right.
It's like whatever.
Well, I think probably what I would try to do if I were, you know, instructing 3 actors to live out this scenario in a in 2021 would be to try to then draw some kind of some difference between her and her, you know, dads, where it's like, yeah, we're gay dads. Do y'all have a problem with that? And she's like, no, nobody fucking cares. And then just,
the alternate take that we said at the beginning of the episode of making them all just very super lib, which you can do with the parents too, and that would be just very a fun thing to play. I would just have to do that. I would just have them be like the most Rachel Maddow watching, like just Mueller, like it's Mueller time, beer koozies, like that's what they're coming out with, like like that's them. Okay.
Oh my God, what a horrible.
Well, let's get on to, because we're talking about Jesse Tyler Ferguson, Leaf Coney Bear, who I think this is the one that, knowing that this is done by a lot of schools, a lot of youth groups, churches do it, with one notable change that we will get to. That's the one that I worry about getting done badly, if you know what I mean, because he is just meant to be just kind of like generally odd and like specific, and like very just kind of generally like maybe ADD or something, or maybe like, but you don't want to really prescribe specifics on it because
child.
Right, he's just kind of,
isn't that like, I had that the same thought of like the Ben Platt of it all.
Yeah,
you know, like that. Yeah, like where does it cross that line and become like, this is not okay to be doing?
Right.
Yeah.
You have to be very careful for sure, and like not evoke any kind of like.
He's certainly not Maddie Ziegler in music. Okay.
Right.
Which,
right.
Alex, have you seen any music?
I don't know that reference. No.
Ooh, we're gonna need you to watch music.
Yeah,
Alex.
I have. Have you watched it? You watched it? Oh, I haven't watched it.
I've seen it 1.5 times. It's bad.
Why?
It's probably
Isn't that
the
the
worst movie musical ever made. Yes, that's the Sia musical. And let me tell you who deserves to be canceled over that.
Sia?
No. Well, yes, but Sia deserves to be canceled for like 10 reasons. But yes, music is chief among them. Also, her probably allegedly and in parody, somebody should write a show about someone like her having a young protege that she's weirdly too close to, and there's like echoes of like Michael Jackson type shit and whatever. Anyway, that would be an interesting story to be told about somebody like Sia. I'm not saying that's what I believe about Sia personally, but anyway, on to
Okay, I can watch this for $4 on YouTube, and
no, just have Nick get it. Anyway, the person that should really be canceled from music is none other than Leslie Odom Jr. Aaron Burr himself, who man does not man should not maybe not have a career after music. There's no way he should have just walked away. How does somebody do all of that? Ooh man, it's bad, and he is incredibly talented. Don't get me wrong, incredibly talented.
What does he do in this that is so?
You just have to watch it.
Like as the character, as the performer.
So first of all, he plays like this coded.
I'm not gonna watch it.
Coded, generally African character. Maybe they say the exact country, so he's kind of doing that accent the whole time, and he's also kind of a blagical. Yeah, he's kind of a blagical character, magical black man kind of stereotype character, and he also does the thing that actually so the whole thing is that Maddie Ziegler is an autistic girl named Music, who like sees music videos in her head, kind of, and it's what the most annoying and stupid thing is that it's not even about her. It's about her sister Kate Hudson, who's trying to pretend like she's like 30, like this character is, when she's clearly in her 40s, and it's fine. It's fine, Kate. Yeah. It's fine. But anyway, it's a lot more concerned with her character, who is a terrible person and is never redeemable in any way, but somehow gets redeemed. But anyway, he did the thing that Leslie Odom at one point restrains music, which is the thing that the autistic community was most upset about with the portrayal, in addition to it just being a shit show. That depicting that is like genuinely very harmful, because like that's been like discredited as not like a good therapy, and it's like he's like does it and he's like he calms her down, and it's like. But
does the movie have the point of view that was a
so he is actually the love interest of Kate Hudson in the movie, yes, and he is a very good guy. He is coded, he's like the really redeemable good guy, and he does a very, very funny number. His main like solo number is he's wearing gigantic pants.
Oh, I love that. If you can get big clothes,
love a pants gag,
then that's fucking it. Like, what are we doing here? Put the people in big clothes. Then you can't beat it.
Okay.
Cheap name.
It's 10:22. We are going to get through all the characters. I swear to God. Leaf, but Leaf is just a kind of a sweet kid. That's like the biggest thing that I say about him. Is he's
and
just
you
like,
were saying, you were saying that.
Yeah,
I was saying there's a high potential for people to try to either go in that direction,
like
where
having some cognitive issues,
and they really want to do that, or to play that for laughs, thinking that that's him too. Equally as bad, probably worse, probably. Both very bad though. So he's one that is tough, but if you play him just like sweetness first and just kind of innocence is really
yeah. I mean, his whole deal is like right there in his lyric. I've got a personality which we'll all agree is anathema to my more aggressive family.
Right.
Like he's a bunch of apparently even okay. This is what I don't understand, and I just want to note it. I know we're running long, but but one of the in the beginning it's implied that he has a large family, and they all seem to be hippies because there's a heightening game.
Yeah, he is implied to have very crunchy granola.
Right.
I think coded like homeschooled. And,
yes, he does say he's
they're
homeschooled.
homeschooled. And all of his older, and he's the youngest, and all of his older siblings are huge overachievers.
Yes. Okay. But when the lyric is, I'm anathema too. I am opposite to. I am, apart from my more aggressive family. I don't know the trope. Maybe you'll help me understand this. Of the crunchy granola, very silly white people names like Palin names that are homeschooled and aggressive.
Have you seen what's the movie with Viggo Mortensen? Is it Captain Fantastic? Is that it, Abby? The Viggo Mortensen movie? Somebody in the chat tell me. But I think it's that energy, which is like he's like a dad, and he has all of his kids, and they like live in the fucking woods in like a van, but like they're all self-teaching themselves by reading like classic works of literature and shit. And he's like, and he has them all talk in like open fucking like dialogue kind of talk, and it's like, yeah, Captain Fantastic. Pretty good movie.
Okay.
Viggo Mortensen's really good in it. And it's based on, I think, a real family, maybe? Or am I making that up? But in any event, I think that, so it's like the intellectual crunchy granola. Like super intellectual.
Now I think like a modern day equivalent of super like pilled Q people.
Yeah, maybe.
Like they don't trust they're not going to send their kids to school to get the propaganda from the government, and he's like the sweet.
That would be the joke. Is so like he always has like the helmet.
Yeah, he figured it out.
He's wearing a helmet in the beginning, and then he takes it off his helmet. And if he took off his helmet and then it was like tinfoil wrapped around his head, that'd be a great visual gag.
Right. Okay. Cool. I just wanted to clear that up. I guess I just didn't know.
I think maybe it wasn't, especially again with how shitty the recording was, but and also maybe the staging could have used some more dynamism. But that one scene where they all stand up and they all have different like really crunchy names like Rainbow and River and whatever and like.
Which to me was setting them up to be a bunch of Leafs. So when he says, I'm too gentle for like people named Leaf or Rainbow and shit, I'm like,
well, that's just kind of overthinking the name. I mean, like his name does like fit with all the rest of them, but yeah, I think that's just,
Nope, okay, fair. Yeah, he's great. That's a wonderful character.
Yeah,
wonderful. I like that.
And it makes sense that he had a whole career off of this, honestly, because it's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And JTF, I don't know if you noticed this, is like such a camera guy because even in like this, he doesn't know where the camera is. Literally, someone's BlackBerry.
This light glowing.
And there would be times when that would try to zoom in on them, and I'm like, every single one of these can be a still. Like, there's not an awkward shot in there.
Yeah.
Well, and
very photogenic guy.
He does that thing that is, I think, one of the hardest things as an actor. Something that I struggle with is I give horrible face, or I have like always like really goofy faces like that I have to contort to do. I mean, you can probably go ahead and pause through the opening of this, and there's probably a bunch of that as well. He has like that kind of thing where he does subtlety in his facial, like in his eyes and like the way that he kind of like looks and eyebrows that read so well, like that read so big, and like the timing of those like sort of things of just like like you're saying, even in this horrible shitty camcorder, which I also said is kind of like a meta, like the actual, if they did an actual recording of the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee, it should have looked like a VHS camcorder. Like that would have been really funny. Like if it was like looked like somebody's dad filmed it, and you like that's how that's how I would do the film version.
Audience participation.
Cinema verite.
That's right.
But yeah, like I don't know. That's all I have to say. I think on Leaf.
I think universally everyone's favorite, probably.
Yeah.
If you disagree, let us know in the chat. But
I agree. Barfay was the one that won the Tonys at the time, and he got to make a movie with Christopher Walken.
Interesting.
But Jesse Tyler Ferguson laughing all the way to the bank. Also, Dan
100.
Fogler also laughing to the bank, though, because he's in those stupid fucking Fantastic Beasts movies, I guess. So he's doing fine. He's not hurting. Those Fantastic Beasts movies, everybody loves, and another one with some nobody associated with it that's canceled in any way. Certainly not the brain child, like the person whose brain it all comes from is not a horrific turd.
Oh, J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Nothing wrong with. This is the second time I've brought up fucking Harry Potter. Ugh.
Don't talk about Harry Potter. Just rein it back in.
Sorry.
Okay, so after Leaf,
I can't talk about Harry. I can talk about Harry Potter less than I can talk about Putnam.
I'm Harry Potter. You might know me from the movies Harry Potter and Harry Potter 2: The Revenge of
Harry Potter.
Absolutely not.
All right, let's talk about Chip Tolentino, who is wearing a Boy Scout uniform, is the winner of the previous year's county spelling bee, who went to states or whatever, or no, he went to nationals rather. Which, oh yeah, that's right. So all the counties go to nationals. He got to go to Washington.
But she didn't recognize. She only knew the top people.
Right. And then that's the other person. So there's like two kind of overachiever characters. And Chip Tolentino, who's implied to do every extracurricular, and he's an Eagle Scout even though he's like 14 or whatever. And anyway, and then Marcy Park is a recent transfer because she's said to have just moved to the area or something, and because she went to nationals the previous year and gotten like the top 10, I want to say, or something, she just like automatically gets to compete. So like they don't know her, and so she's kind of like this huge like the almost like the ringer, that they're all, especially all the guys, Barfay and Chip, are very intimidated. Well, Chip is also this is his main characteristic, is I would say pubescent, in that he is he's going through that puberty hard. Pubescent, Alex. The word is pubescent. He is a moist, pubescent boy.
Love that. Love talking about children in that way.
Doesn't sound good to hear.
So good.
Oh my god. This is going right with the VOD for what I streamed right before this. It's getting unpublished. No, I'm just kidding. I'm keeping it up.
He's but you know,
do you have takes on the character? I have nothing to say.
I just wanted to bring up, he exudes like humility. Like this is like he's like a sweet guy. You don't see him that much. When it's cool when he comes back as Jesus, kind of.
Yeah, it's funny. Well, because he gets eliminated first, and so
because he has an erection.
Right. That's he sees,
and it's unfortunate.
And it's Leaf's sister that gives him the erection, because he says, "Leaf, is that your sister?" He sees her out there in the audience, and then he gets called up to go to the microphone. He says, "Can you skip me and come to me later?" They say no. And then he goes out there and he's holding his number down to kind of, and like bending forward to like hide
for modesty.
Yeah, Marigold Coney Bear. Thank you, SourceForce.
That's right.
And he does give out the candy for free. He is an ally. Because he's distracted, and then the word that he is asked to spell, and this is definitely one that you would never change, is the word tit-up, which is like, I guess, a word about horse gallops or something. But he is, of course, distracted, and he's looking out in the audience, and he says T-I-T-U, and then he realizes we made a mistake. He tries to go back and correct himself, but there's a song in the beginning of the show that's the rules, and one of the rules is if you start to spell the word, you may start over, but the sequences of letters already spoken may not be changed. Yes. So he had already misspelled, and he gets eliminated at that point for having a boner. And then after they eliminate all of the people, well, here let's is Marcy?
Marigold?
No, Marcy is the overachiever and super overachiever, but like also to the point of when you hear more and more about her home life, you realize no, she's being abused actually. Her parents are very abusive, and she has a couple of lines in her song about how she is underweight and like basically you get the impression like malnourished or like overworked to the point of like really exhaustion. But the show is kind of her realizing that and deciding that she's going to rebel against that and not be that anyway. And I love her arc too. She's fun. What do you think about Marcy?
I love her.
Great. So then Mitch Mahoney is the comfort counselor, and we talked about him briefly. He's recent parolee, and he is the one that. And actually, this is a fun part to play. My good friend Carl Williams, former guest of the show. He was on one of my very first episodes. He played Mitch Mahoney in the production that I directed, and it was his third time playing it, and he will play it again. It's a part very well suited to him, and it's a very fun part because you are also kind of the one who's doing the most facilitating of the audience. That's actually the one that is steering the audience after they've been eliminated, getting them back to their seats, and also in my production he was like even doing more to like kind of consolidate chairs and stuff like that. So it was cool to have that part that's like has a real function actually in the business of the show. So it makes it even more fun as an actor to play when the thing you're playing is literally real. You're literally giving a juice box to this real person that was actually like competing in the spelling bee as far as they know. So
have we seen that same type of character like in other plays? Because that's something I was wondering when I was watching that, because it's such like an anchor character where like all of the other characters have some kind of interaction with him, and they all have to take like a different thing away from their interaction with him. Like I feel like I've definitely seen that.
Well, that's a fun thing in the epilogue with his character is he says that he basically
it's almost like the narrator.
Well, after he says that the parole, after his parole, he kept doing this because he really liked it and being a comfort counselor for different competitions and spelling bees, and that everybody has kind of kept in contact with him and then all of them are writing letters to him. So it's that's and it is a really cool part because he gets to just and then he sings the song, which you saw.
Yeah, he gets to sing. Yeah,
that was in the Tony's performance. That he gets this big, huge show-stopping number for all the goodbyes as well, especially the last.
And he gets to sing in the "I Love You" song.
That's right, and then he plays Olive's father. And they gets to do those very fun harmonies. And Rona Lisa Peretti plays Olive's mother.
He wasn't Jesus.
No, Chip Tolentino is Jesus. And then because that's something Marcy Park also is she goes to Catholic school. And so she's wearing a Catholic school uniform, and when she's having her crisis of her personal crisis, she says, "Oh, Jesus, what am I supposed to do?" And then he appears, and it's Chip, and that is that's maybe my favorite joke of the show, because Jesus' response is she's like, "If I lose the spelling bee, are you going to be disappointed in me?" And he's like, "No, and I also won't be disappointed in you if you win." And she's like, "Oh, because it's up to me?" And he goes, "Yeah, and also this isn't really the type of thing I care about," which I think is a really funny take for Jesus to have. So anyway,
and that elicited a big reaction from the audience.
So those are the. No, that's one of my favorite jokes in the show.
Crushed. So
those are the characters in the show. Now onto the audience participation. Somebody was saying earlier, would it be annoying if there was somebody that was an audience participant that was trying to do bits with them and trying to be funny or trying to improv along? And the answer is yes, almost always. I will say, so when I directed this and we were hurting to get anybody to sign up, we would have actual kids sign up, and that was really fun. A 10, 11-year-old or whatever. And sometimes those 11-year-old kids would try to be and that was fun. That I'll give those kids a pass because they're kids. But when adults would try to have jokes, that is when you would you talk about this with the Panch and the Rona Lisa. You get them up, you give them the hard word that you know they're going to fail, and you get them off the stage, and that's it. And that's like, and so it's built into the show. That like the first sign that somebody is not going to be cool. And then contra that, if somebody is just doing what they're asked for, really trying, and like you could certainly like react, especially when they're like making fun of you and stuff. Like, but they don't want you to like try to say like one up their joke. It's not a yes and situation. You're supposed to compete in the B. And so that's sort of like mostly the guidance that they give you when it comes to the audience participants. So what do you...
Yeah. They also do a really good job, I think, of handling them on stage.
Has another show ever had this level of audience participation on Broadway?
Well, I mean, certainly there's like comedy type shows or sort of things, or like.
But like I'm just in this scenario, like a musical.
But like a straight up musical.
I can't think.
I mean, I maybe don't have enough of like an encyclopedic knowledge. I mean, like the only thing I can think of is like in Spring Awakening they would have like the risers on the stage where like people could sit on stage, but like they weren't in the like they were, so they became like scenery kind of like they so they like, but they weren't.
No, they weren't
like brought into the show.
Right.
I mean, okay, yeah.
It's a huge risk to take. Huge.
Yeah. Once Source Force is saying the based on the movie, which is staged like kind of in a bar with everybody playing their own instruments, kind of thing. Does a sort of similar thing where the audience can actually go on stage to the bar before the show, and it's a real working bar that's like stuff on tap and like all that.
Okay, I don't know. Is that? I guess that is something that we always like.
Oh, and the other one that I'm thinking of is
that, but they don't want that.
So there was a recent Sweeney Todd actually that was first done in London, and then they did it off Broadway as well, where it was done in a pie shop. And that they would have like the audience was in the pie shop, and it would all be kind of happening around them or whatever. It was like a big like sort of pie shop, and then they would serve real pies, I believe, that were like made during or something.
Sleep no more.
Sleep no more,
right?
Of course. But that is
again.
Isn't that
we're just listing canceled things. This is the episode where everything we mention is canceled.
I think there was a trend in like I think when in the early 2000s, right, where people were like, we want to involve the audience, we want to make this immersive theater, but it's just not good. It doesn't work. I literally think this is the only situation where it could possibly work.
Yeah, but I don't want to get too didactic here, and there is a big difference between like audience participation and like audience immersion. You know, like just being on stage with the other performers is not participating. It's like to the degree that this is like you will go up and speak words in front of the audience. You know, like and I cannot think of anything quite like it. And then I was just like thinking, does it need it, or is it just kind of a fun gimmick? Because think it
does. I do think it needs the sense of accomplishment for the kids. It needs the sense of that they've beaten people, and you don't want to eliminate the actual characters so you can get them. But you need it makes it a real spelling bee. I think it's I think you do need
so you don't have to have extra cast.
Yeah,
right. You don't have to have extra.
The show would be over in 20 minutes if you eliminated all the kids.
And it also gives a chance that it's like that thing that if it's too goofy or twee or whatever you want to say all the time, kids like the quirky or whatever of the kids, that's like too much like sugar or something, you know what I mean? Like you need to balance it with like the panch of it all,
right,
we haven't talked about Vice Principal Panch, who is kind of the guy that gets to have the most improv. Like when I say there's improv in the show, it's really him that gets to do it because he gets to play off the audience. But also, most of like or all of those like sentences, definition, words are chosen. Like those are he's got a whatever sheet. I think we used flashcards in our production. So but he gets to choose which word he's going to give. He like gets to kind of read, like, this is a person we want to keep. This is the time, and that's written in, like, this is when you want to eliminate somebody. This is when you want to give like a pretty hard word that they might get, they might not. And it allows for a variety in how that kind of all comes across. But he's so Rona Lisa is like acting the part of the master of ceremonies, but as far as like the functioning of the show, Panch is very much the master of ceremonies, who kind of has to be the one to like drive it. And it's a very very fun, and it's completely non-singing basically. Is the other thing about it. So that's why it's something it's like when I've had people on the show that are like, oh, I could never be in a musical. I don't sing, but they've been somebody really funny. I'd be like, Panch. I'm gonna see you for Panch.
It's also like practically a great role to like slot in like some sort of like celebrity, non-singing. You can keep them seated, and like some sort of comedian to like be on Broadway with that for a few months, and then you can turn it. You know what I mean? You can like just add a star to it, and it doesn't require the same amount of rehearsal, isn't it?
Yeah. No, it's very fun. I want to shout out. I shout out my entire cast from when I did this. It was really really fun. 2015, very cursed production. You can go track it down on YouTube. My episode with Carl, we got into it there because every show we've done together has been cursed in one way or another. Because it was February 2015, very winter stormy time in this area. 1/3 of our productions got canceled, including our closing performance, which was also when we were going to film it. So we could have watched our production, except no recording exists. So that's the tree that fell in the forest, everybody. And also, it was just murder getting people out to the show because of the weather and all this kind of stuff too. All these other.
But isn't that the production where at one point you did propose to your now wife?
Did that happen? Oh, I was going to get to that.
Okay, I was just gonna say it's hard to hear you speak so.
Well, I was getting to my entire production.
Oh, sorry.
That it was a very.
I didn't get a rundown of the episode. I'm sorry.
There wasn't one.
I pooped it. I scooped it.
It was
Bobby's married.
It was a very special group of people. It's true. I have had sex, and
yeah, it's not the same thing.
I'm just saying. Anyway, this very special group all around, and Abby was there with me most of the time as my assistant director, just kind of as a person to sort of bounce ideas off of, and just it was really awesome that Abby was there through the whole thing. And so I was ready to propose at that time anyway, and I was like, hey, here's a thing that we did together. And so opening night, my whole family is there, including my then 5-year-old, she wasn't even 5 yet, 4-year-old niece, Violet, former guest of the show, who's now, actually, I should say, everybody, I'll break the news now because we're coming to the end of the episode anyway. There isn't going to be an episode next week because it's Violet's birthday party. All right? I think it's as good of a reason as any. So, fans of the show know, we love Violet. She's very important to the Goo Goo verse. She's also been on the stream playing Fortnite with me. We love Violet. So I will not be doing a stream next week so I can go to her birthday party. But she was there, even though she was like 4, and this show is like, even though it's a show with everybody playing kids, it's not really for kids. That's something we should talk about before we go, right? Is this just, like, that's the thing, is like this does get done by like middle schools and high schools. Oh yeah. So My Unfortunate Erection, Chip's Big Number, when it gets done by uncool high schools and youth groups, middle schools, churches, there is a version, and in the script it says, if you must change it, use these lyrics. Please don't. If there's any way you can keep it, please don't. But if you must. And it's My Unfortunate Distraction. And it has a few. So it's like. So you don't play him actually getting a boner, you play him just being distracted by this beautiful girl. But it's not as fun. It's not as good.
Do they change any of the other lyrics to rhyme?
I think there might be a few others. Like a few others.
Because one thing I did notice, he seems to be quite a stickler for like proper rhymes and not slant rhymes. Because like in that song specifically,
he'd rather go to like the back of the thesaurus, like the last word in the list of like the long like very like vocab word that would like rhyme perfectly, and it's like, but what? Who says that? Like anathema, which isn't even rhyming.
He doesn't have to rhyme anything with that. It just means opposite. But like, I noticed it in My Unfortunate Erection when he says, that's why I'm selling these PTA confections. And it just, to me, seems like concessions would be like the more natural word to use, and it would slant in with the other words.
Yeah, but here's the thing, and here's my counter to that, is concessions has another meaning, and that's gonna muddy it. You know what I mean? It's like you're conceding something. People will be like, oh, he's making concessions. I'm just saying, you had to think like that as a lyricist. That's something that, like, Sondheim was, like, if something has a double meaning, people are going to be like, oh. So that's why I think confections is fine. And it does make it a perfect rhyme, to your point. And that's another thing that, again, the God, the man himself, as he always says, a perfect rhyme beats a near rhyme anytime. That's a paraphrased quote of me.
But a paraphrase does not beat a direct quote.
Paraphrasing yourself?
Yeah. Anybody that subscribed, like Jack or whatever, you can now use that Stephen Sondheim emote. Please enjoy it liberally. I love seeing Stephen Sondheim pop up and like Go Off Kings for Lilac Wimsky. I'll put him in there. It's great. It's great to see. All right, so I think that we've basically said all there is to say about this I think this is just honestly a really nice, really nice, very, very, very nice, very nice show for me. Personally, I think it's good, actually, as I think musical theater is. How do you all feel? How are we feeling? Final thoughts. Emmy, you've been a great guest. You've said so much, and
Thank
you've
you.
been...
I haven't spoken for the last 30 to 40 minutes.
We went long.
I don't have much of a hot take on it because I just feel like it's sweet and cute and nice, and so it's like there's no like my brain is not going any deeper than that. You know what I mean? It's like surface level, very nice.
It's modest aims, right? It's like coming of age, classic. It's like, and it's because it feels very light. It's able to kind of set your expectations fairly low for what you're expecting out of it, so that for it to clear it at all is great. So that when it kind of like subverts them then and it gets a little deeper than maybe you expect, you're like, oh, this is a cool show. What do you think, Alex?
Okay, I will say this about it. I will say, one, congratulations for writing a show in the era where, Avenue Q was also contemporary, and having like very few things for us to cringe at in general.
And it's very much like comedy show. Like it's written to be a comedy.
Yeah. That said, I think it's sweet. It's lovely. I would consider it like a little show.
No, and that's a good thing about it.
For like a minute,
you
right?
can do it you can do it for a low budget. The way I did it, the community theater I did at Kensington Arts Theater is done in this Kensington Armory, which is like this, looks like a fucking fallout shelter, huge like public armory where they hold like bridge tournaments on the weekends with all these old people. And I was like, this is perfect. Usually they like put up like curtains on the sides and try to hide that it's
this pipe and drape.
And I was like, no, we're showing what this is, and I just made that the set, and I didn't like I put some fucking streamers and balloons up, and like that was it. I didn't do anything else because it was like great. So it is like great for that reason. You don't need much.
And I just from the critical end of it.
And I have a response for your criticism, but say it.
Oh, you think that the book is good. I think the book is fine. It's not great music. Okay, and
it's not William Finn's best music. There are some great William Finn songs. They serve the show well, but they're functional. They're not necessarily the star of the show. The book is the star of the show, I think. And here's what I'll say to your criticism was that you said that you didn't know how great necessarily the book was as much as that the performances on it were really great. And my counter to that is I think that she has you know, with the knowledge of what the kind of show this is, that it's a thing that is calling for broad characters and adults to sort of embody these like childish characters. It is a roadmap that allows for all those different like specificities that you can have, like the different leafs you can have, the different parfaits you can have, and that's something that's really neat to see. Like we've mentioned, like sort of the racial makeup of some of the characters, but you go see Cats and it's like completely different all around, and like that's just one way in which you can imagine the dynamic of those characters being different, just from a visual like standpoint, and knowing that that would necessarily like play into, you know,
totally
their portrayal. But just I think that it's, you don't want the script to hold your hand too much. Like it needs to be kind of like a springboard or something.
Right. And it is essentially kind of like a monologue. Ways like there are scenes, you know, there isn't scene work. The comedy isn't coming from like humorous like interactions. It's coming from like one-liners and jokes. Right. Yeah. It's not like, you know, whatever. Yeah, I think it's lovely. I think it's great. I think what it has done is created like an incredible like context or like system of mechanics that you can, like you said, pick up and do other places and totally surprise people with it.
Yeah.
You know, people you know or that are in the audience are going to be on stage. It can literally be done anywhere. There are people playing adults playing kids. Like there are true moments of transformation on stage. You know, like characters. So it's like a very good product.
And then this is the last thing I'm going to say about audience participation, is that people hate audience participation, or they say they hate audience participation, and what they're saying, and I think this is basically what Emmy said, is that they hate themselves participating. They don't want myself. They don't want to be I hate myself. No, they don't want to be the one to participate, but it is fun to watch someone else in that. And like Pandemonium is a very fun number because they
in this show, yes, it is fun.
Yes, in this context, the way that it's done here. It's not fun when it's cats and like there's like full-grown men in like lycra suits and fur like rubbing against you and like crawling over your lap.
I would disagree.
Okay, Emmy is good with that one too. Okay, we're gonna go on just case by case with Emmy. We're gonna just get her ruling on each of these. That'll be next time Emmy's on. We've gone way too long. I knew we would, and I love it.
Too long. I gotta go. I mean, we've been here for 3 hours.
I'm wrapping it up. No show next week. I don't know what's going to be the week after that. Maybe Mitch. It's coming. But yeah, Alex. Everybody follow Alex at A Kliner. Go to alexkleiner.com as well. Hire him. Although, you know, now he's booked and blessed. We all, you know, hey, we celebrate our boy.
We celebrate. Please follow Bobby Libby at Lord Goo Goo. No, at Bobby Libby still? Or did you switch the
No, it's
profile?
still it's Bobby Libby. So that's
right. And then obviously follow Lady Goo Goo.
Oh yeah,
which is Travel
Guys,
Scrabble.
go to yourpetinSpace.com. Seriously, I know it's like down here every week, but
thank you, Source Force, for the follow.
Also follow Abby on Insta. Her drawings, it's like the coolest thing getting to see Abby get really good at art, and I think you should all get to enjoy that too, because she's awesome. And I know I'm biased, but I would think that even if I wasn't married to her. So hey, and I got, you know, It happened with this show. That's where I popped the question. So a very special show. So I got to make sure to shout her out here. And I was filling the time perfectly to get us ready for this exit screen, and I got my GIF I want there, and we're ready to go. And I love you both. You're two of my very best friends. Two of my very best friends. Everybody in the chat is my best friend. I love you. I love all of you. And we'll see you in a couple weeks. Bye.